2 weeks go by in the blink of an eye. Hello and welcome everybody back to GPVWC Superlights and the second round of the 2025 season, where this week we're heading back to a track we've not visited since 2020, that bizarre year where we all lived through history, sat in our own homes, and then all promptly forgot about it the second we were allowed back out again. We're here at Istanbul Park, a track absolutely beloved by drivers, and it's been a real shame that it's been gone for so long. A very medium speed technical track. It rewards bravery, it rewards skill, and of course in Superlights, as always, those are two things you really need to be up the top of the pack. With Fabian Jungbluth, as always, on the cameras, you join myself, Ross McIntyre, and Amir Oates alongside me in the commentary box to bring you all of the 47 laps of action of tonight's race. It's still early doors in the season, Amir, but we saw a great race in Australia, and looking at the practice times, once again, it could be very, very interesting to see. We've got a minute left in this session before we head to qualifying. It's anyone's guess who's going to be quick here today.
Yeah, absolutely. After an extremely exciting season opener, to gain that first race season's momentum, it will continue with the incredible action that we've just seen back in Melbourne. It's absolutely expected to continue here into Istanbul Park. We've just seen it before here, a new track we have not seen here in 5 years. It's been a relative unknown to see with these new specifications as well, with how fast these Superlights have gotten, just to see how technical it will be to combat through this amazing technical circuit. And honestly, Ross, it's absolutely looking extremely exciting here. We've seen with very fast times. It's as you said before, relatively unknown. It's anyone's guesses to see who can get very well in the qualifying session and also in the race as well.
Absolutely. Last time we were here, it was Liam Duval taking the race win. And the time before that, the only other time we actually came to Istanbul was 2019, where Christian Pasquale, the Italian driver, took victory. So So we're expecting, of course, a new winner here today. None of those two on the Superlights grid anymore. But again, very interesting race in Australia. It's still early doors. We're still trying to work out who's going to be fast, who's going to be competitive throughout the season. And the teams are thinking the exact same as well. It's anyone's guess. Again, 47 laps of racing to look forward to here this evening. We've got the C4s, the C3s and the C2 compounds of tyres available from soft over to hard. So that is kind of middle of the road as it gets in terms of tyre compounds. Could potentially be seeing a 2-stop. I'd expect a 1-stop, perhaps medium to hard. It seems like a circuit that very much favours track position over strategic battles. But again, we've not been here in a while. We've not been here with the current iteration of cars in Superlights. We've not really been here in the modern era of GPVWC with SO1, SO2, FS1 and FS2 as someone getting a little bit sideways there as the checkered flag comes up. Nice little power slide. Turn 1 though, that is going to be chaotic on lap number 1. You see it in real life motor racing. You see it in sim racing as well. It's nicknamed the Laguna, or not, it's nicknamed the Corkscrew of Turkey. That's what it's nicknamed, after the corkscrew at Laguna Seca, of course. You've got this big drop-off down the left. It really doesn't look as bad on the cameras as it is when you're behind the wheel. Very easy to lock up, very easy to lose traction and find yourself facing the wrong way, especially on the opening lap when there's a lot of cars trying to go through there as well. So we are at the end of practice now. We'll be going with qualifying in just a few moments. Philip Pushka with Greg Racing. He was on top with a 123.842 on the last lap. Ruven Machete for Optiminal in P2, only 700ths off. And Jose Soriano for Netrex, he was third. Race winner last time out, Tom Satterley, he was P4. Harry Smith was fifth in the other Netrex car. Both of those guys looking quick today. Mike Quint in P6 for Lunark. Luke Mitchell was 7th, Mirko Lucchini 8th, Norbert Jakab was 9th, and Jan Dragoon for True North. He rounds out the top 10. So that's who we need to be keeping our eyes on at the moment for the looks of things heading into this one. Few different drivers making some appearances today out on track as well. It's not the exact same grid as we saw last time out in Australia at Albert Park. So get ready to see some new faces, but most of the same guys are here, looking like we've got a full 30-car grid as well, which is wonderful to see. So we'll be getting going with our qualifying session in a moment. If you are just joining us, do not panic. You're just in time before we get going for the second qualifying session of the season with Fabian Jungbluth on the cameras. You join myself, Ross McIntyre, Amir, Oates, alongside me, bringing you all of the action from tonight. If this is your first time watching GPVWC, first of all, hello and welcome. Hope you enjoy the spectacle of Superlights, the best series at the second rung in the GPVWC career ladder. Of course, make sure you head down to the description, join the Discord if you fancy, and of course you can head over to the website gpvwc.com as well to find out more if you fancy get racing. Can see yourself competing with the best of the best in our Factor 2 sim racing. This is the place to be. This is how you get it going. So the car's disappearing. They'll be appearing again momentarily as we get ready to go out for qualifying session, of course. Once they leave the pits at the start of qualifying, that is it. Parc Fermé is in effect. What you can do to the car is very limited from that point. All you can really do to change the setup is change the tyre pressures and the front wing. Here we go then. Green flag is out now in this qualifying session. And nobody heading out onto track just... Oh, we do have someone heading out onto track. So drivers keen to get the laps in early. Of course, private qualifying session, as always, here in GPVWC. So it's just the drivers, all about how they can make themselves... All about how, or should I say, how they can do on the track. There's no slipstream. There's no slower cars holding you up. It's just you, your car, and what you can do to decide what you're doing out there. So, as we get going for qualifying, Amir, who do you think we're expecting to see fast in this one today? Of course, different being fast in qualifying in the race, of course, but it can put you in a good position if you're up the front of the grid.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a really mixed bag to see who will be able to make the most out of it. We were talking about the experience before. Haven't been here since 2020. Only 3 drivers from back in 2020 are still here in 2025. Cass Reitfeld, Alexander Ragoza, and David Krupa. So I would expect them with a little bit more of that Superlights experience from the previous years to maybe do a lot more better than per usual. But I think we can expect like the same sort of like Philip Pushka and maybe Tom Savary, those two were like battling out for the lead in Albert Park and had very strong qualifying performances. And I expect to see them probably carry through that big momentum that they had in Melbourne over to Istanbul. But really, it's anyone's game here. It's just about, you know, perfecting the time whenever you leave the track and just making use of that race line as much as you possibly can. But another important thing to notice as well, during the race, you're using the same tire compound as you do for the qualifying for the top 15. So that means that tire wear is going to be a very big factor to play here for. So I'm not entirely sure if people will go for more than one run because it's a really unnecessary strain on the tires, especially down through turn 2 and turn 8.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Of course, that monstrous turnout, that quad apex left-hand sweeper that Istanbul Park is so famous for. Again, also raises the opportunity for some strategy. If you can maybe drop back a couple of positions on the grid, but you're still up the front, maybe give it a run on the mediums in the qualifying session to give yourself a longer opening stint. That could open things up strategy-wise. We'll have to wait and see. Ruven Machete for Optiminal. He starts his opening lap and winds his way through the first sector. Look at how hard he's pushing already. Rear of the car protesting as he makes his way through the tight and twisty sector 1. And now coming out into some faster stuff. Foot flat to the floor. Doesn't quite run all the way out to the curb there. That's not quite what you want to do. Actually costs you a little bit of time, but it's looking good so far. A 31.243 in the opening sector. Gets very, very sideways as he gets caught on the curb, kicking out sparks from underneath him. Again, because it's opening laps in this session, we don't really know if that is the quickest first sector we've seen from anyone yet. We just have to wait until everyone crosses the line before we start getting true sector telemetries. But that looks okay so far. And again, looks very, very comfortable. Car protesting a little bit, but Ruven's a driver. He likes to let the car move underneath him. He likes to let the car do what it wants to do. He doesn't fight it. It's a very aggressive driving style, but it does work for him. Coming into the final section now, braking hard, get the front end turned in again, rear sliding out just a little bit as he pitches the front end of the car in, and he decides to abandon that lap. Wasn't quite worth it. Jose Soriano, he's on top. Oh, he was on top, shall I say. Tom Satherley now sets the early banker, 123.959. Now Philip Pushka goes to the top, 123.952. Look at how close it is between the top two of Pushka and Satherley, 7 thousandths of a second, and then very, very close among the rest of the pack early doors as well. Again, it's still early in this qualifying session, Amir. The track's going to get quicker and quicker. The drivers are going to get quicker and quicker. We're not expecting any rain in this race all this evening either, so it's all just a straight fight for pole position from here.
Yeah, you can definitely see with Pushka and Savary with how much of the advantage that they've had early on, around 7,000 before, and between Savary and Soriano, it is 1/10. So that just shows you about that big of a deficit. But as you mentioned before, track's going to get a lot warmer. A lot of these drivers are going to get a lot quicker over time. So their positions for P1 and P2 are not auto safe. And we've seen it before here in Melbourne. A lot of these drivers that can put up a very good fight for pole position. And I'm expecting the same here in Istanbul.
Well, we'll have to wait and see as we go on board. Chris Gitsov comes to the line now. Where can the Alpha Sierra driver stick himself? Does he improve? No, stays where he was. P17, 125.002. A little bit of time to make up there for the ASS driver. And making his way through. Will he be pushing on again? No, not looks like it. He'll be making his way back to the pit lane on this lap as Harry Smith also does so. Currently P9 for the NetRex driver, who doesn't live too far, about half an hour down the road from me. I can assure he's working very, very hard in his new apartment that he's got himself set into recently. Koroshavin, he is on an outlap in the other Alpha Sierra car, the Ukrainian driver who really, really impressed towards the latter end of last season. Let's see what he can do early doors in 2025, pushing his way down into turn 1. Looks all clean so far. Again, turn 1, it's such a crucial corner. If you get that wrong, it really messes up a lot of your opening sector. Koroshavin looking pretty comfortable though. Not pushing too hard by the looks of things from the onboard. Seems like he just wants to get a lap in, get a lap on the board for the time being. Although, again, getting very squirrely on the rear end of the car as he smashes the throttle pedal into the floor. These Superlights cars, they've just got so much power. It is really, really easy to lose control of the rear end. Traction can be a real struggle. And that's why a lot of the accidents that we see in Superlights is just people getting sideways on their own, trying to correct it. The front end bites and slams them into the barrier. They are tricky, tricky cars to drive. Koroshavin, though, doing okay for the moment as he makes his way into the middle sector. Green in the first sector as it stands very sideways once again. Now he's starting to get a move on him here. Looks like it could be an okay lap, potentially launching himself around about 15th if he can stay on the money towards the end here.
Absolutely, just needs the final few corners though. It's very, very important to see that throttle inputs. He just loses it just a little bit. That's going to cost him a bit of time. But as you said, Fabian, I think, is just needed to get a lap in order to have something off as a baseline for him as he excels through turn 14. After that little bit of a squiggle come through the third sector, it's pretty decent for 19th at 125.035. So the Ukrainian's good. Macheda though, he has not actually made an appearance, but he's gotten himself up into pole position provisionally, and it's actually 400ths faster than Pushka, so that's really good there from Ruben.
Yeah, lovely lap there from the Optiminal driver. His teammate Joseph Herlock only P9 at the moment, so he'll be looking to improve. But right now, Machete looks like he is on top. Christos Philo comes to the line, goes P25. Alpha Delta guys, they'll be looking to try and make their way forward as well, but you can just see how close the top 4, the top 5 are all covered. Well, the top 3 covered by half a tenth of a second, all 3 of them, and then down to 5th is 2/10 covering them. It's very, very tight up the top of the grid. Norbert Jakab now with a purple middle sector, and the first sector was very, very strong as well. Let's see what the True North driver can do. The Canadian car makes its way through the left and the right. One final turn to go. Don't get greedy on the throttle. A little bit of understeer on the way and had to correct that. That could cost him a little bit of time. Norbert Jakab, though, to the line. And unfortunately, that small error has cost him. He will not improve on that lap. Harry Smith going around now. He's down in the middle sector. Is the Briton. What can he do as he makes his way into the final few corners? A lot cleaner than Jakab was through the left-hander. Penultimate corner looks good as well. Look at him just slingshotting the car around, carrying all the momentum. The shortest run to the line, Harry Smith up into P7. Purple final sector as well there, so plenty more perhaps on offer from Harry Smith. Still 7 minutes left to go in this session. Pushka's gone even faster, so Soriano. Pushka now with a 10th to the good, Amir. So he's looking very, very comfortable in that Drake racing car at the moment. We'll have to wait and see what he can do. His teammate, Tom van der Voort, he's only down in 24th place. So Philip, if he's on pole and his teammates down towards the back of the pack, he could be facing some massive, massive battles, especially when the likes of Savley and Rietveld, the likes of Jakab and Dragoon, they're all there, the teammates, they can work together. At the moment, Pushka is there a bit on his own with no help.
Yeah, I agree with that. We've seen it before with a bit of the teammate strategy. I think with the True North drivers as well, they were trying to put something off in Melbourne. That definitely put them to an advantage. But Pushka being on his own, I think, might be able to fend off the lead if he plays his cards right, though. But without that teammate, as you mentioned before, it is going to be a bit disadvantageous for him. Alexander Ragosa, he's made his appearance back in 2020. He improves, but it gets himself only just up into 18th for the Gallery 82 Motorsport driver.
Absolutely. Alexander Ragosa makes his way round Gallery 82. Again, another squad who will be looking to pick up the pieces coming into round number 2. Again, a strong 2024 for the squad. They'll be looking to try and move as forward as they can, but Ragosa just working his way around the track at the moment, wasn't really pushing. Robin Merling, though, for Rookie Monsters. They are a team that will desperately be looking to move forward. Again, it's still early doors for Rookie Monsters. First time in Superlights, and, well, after being in GPVWC for not particularly too long, but a team that's very, very strong all across R-Factor 2. And especially over in endurance racing side of things, they are a real powerhouse over there, and now looking to stamp their authority on the single-seater side of things. Merlin comes to the line. What's it going to be? Goes P15 and 124.512. Not bad at all, sitting at the midpoint and leading the Rookie Monsters charge. His teammate Daniel Scott a couple of tenths behind. He lies P19 at the moment. So Rookie Monsters not looking too bad at the moment. Seeing Maxime Bulio there in P17. Good stuff there from the Canadian driver. Let's see if they can improve. Again, a lot of these guys were people that really started to improve towards the back end of last season, but coming into 2025, it's a new year, there's new teams, there's new drivers, everyone's been putting the work in. Sometimes you find yourself where you could have been fighting for points, podiums at the back end of 2024, and suddenly, especially if the car is maybe not where the teams want it to be at this stage, you find yourself dropping a little bit back in the order. So early doors, it's more just about building that momentum up, especially for teams like Fusion, who did have some fantastic results last year. They'll be looking to build themselves back up to be consistently fighting for those top 10s. Tom Savely now, the Kiwi, purple in Sector 1, yellow in Sector 2 though, so it's going to have to be a monster final sector from our round 1 winner in Down Under. almost a home win for the Brem GP driver. Looks pretty clean. Almost pretty clean. Little bit of a squirrely rear end there as he makes his way through the final corner. What's it going to be for Tom Satherley as he comes to the line? Is it pole? Not quite. Down in the final sector as well. What we're seeing at the moment, Amir, it looks like to me there's lots of people who are fast on one portion of the racetrack, but elsewhere it's just letting them down. No one's really able to string the lap together at the moment.
It's so hard because once you ever try to push your tires so much into one sector, you're pretty much compromising the other ones. So if you either be conservative now or you try to like elevate it throughout, as you can just see with Jan Dragoon though, he's also purple through the first sector as well. So he's effectively pushing as much as he possibly can for the first sector. He'll slowly be going for the second sector. That's going to be green. So again, just the third sector, seeing the people been a bit too impatient here for the final sector, but we'll see what the Czech driver can do.
We'll absolutely have to wait and see. Dragoon, a fantastic, fantastic talent, no matter what sim he's in, no matter what car he's in. He started off last year showing what he can do. Can he continue that into 2025? Does he go to pole? Oh, no. It's a disappointing final sector for Jan Dragoon when it looks so promising early doors. He'll stay P5, leading the True North Motorsport charge. At the moment, the Czech driver, though, monstrous through sector number 1. Noah Tuamela goes to P10. He improves one place, 124.238 there, making his way down to the turn 1. 2 minutes and 50, though, here, Amir. We're starting to get to crunch time. Drivers are going to need to be diving into the pits for their final set of tyres to prepare for their final runs to get ready for when the track is at its absolute optimum. So I think it's going to get very, very chaotic very, very quickly.
Absolutely, but also don't forget to mention about the dirty air. Whenever there's more cars onto the track, it's going to be even harder to navigate through those medium high-speed corners from the first sector and the second sector as Daniel Scott exits out for turn 14. It's going to be interesting what sort of time he'll set for his team rookie. He still stays in 21st with his teammate Mulling still in 16th, but apart from the third sector, it's not really advantageous to, you know, clatter up and make your final runs. So it's going to be interesting to see what they can do. Mitchell Mam, he's making his first appearance for 2025 here in the Superlights. Improves, but still just 23rd for the Kings Racing driver.
We'll have to wait and see. Scott Mitchell, Mom, a nice little lap there. Kings Racing not doing too much to impress, too much to show what they have in their locker so far in round number 2. Let's see if they can work their way forward, continue to push onwards. 1 minute 30 then left on the clock. Scott Mitchell, Mom, this could very well be his final lap. If he continues to push onwards, everyone else will surely be diving out of the pit lane now to try and lay down their best efforts. Patrick Magnusson, wow, brilliant first sector from the KV86 powerhouse driver, currently 17th. He was 4 thousandths off of the purple in sector number 1. Sector number 2 looking very strong as well. Patrick Magnusson could be whipping out a very late challenge for pole position here. Makes his way into the final corner, has to do a little bit of a correction into the penultimate corner. Now one final left. Look at the rear protesting under the quick changes of direction. Foot flat to the floor, climbing over 250 kilometers an hour. Unfortunately, it's only good enough for 11th, but that was monstrous through sector 1. Just goes to show how close it is. One little mistake here or there can put you in the fight for pole down to the back end of the top 10. He's just behind teammate Noah Tuamala as well in the sister KV86 car, but that was absolutely mighty. He may potentially be going for another lap. No, he's driving off the circuit. That'll be it for this session for Patrick Magnusson. Who else is working their way around? Dominic Kurashavin, he's currently 18th. He'll want to improve to lead the Alpha Sierra Sim Racing charge. Remco de Jou's also not set a lap yet. He's not left the pits in this session. So wonder what's going on there in the sister Fusion Racing car to Maxime Giulio, who currently sits 19th. Kurashavin, though, 2.5 tenths off in Sector 1. Sector 2, it's a further 3 tenths down. So not looking massively competitive at the moment, unfortunately, for the Ukrainian. Makes his way into the final few corners. Checkered flag is now waving. Can anybody challenge Philip Pushka, or has the Drake Racing driver just secured himself pole position? Kurashavin makes his way to the line. Does he improve? No, he does not. He stays in P18. Sorry, Arno, though, purple in Sector 1. Looking very tight in Sector 2. The Nerex driver goes to pole position by 700ths of a second. Fantastic stuff there from Soriano to work his way forward. Machete's also looking like he's on a very good lap. Is it good enough, though, to challenge to pole as Darren Krupa slides up into 13th place in the PZZW car? Oh, Machete misses the apex coming into the penultimate corner. Will that impact his lap time? Will he be able to get any closer to the front two? All the way to the line, Machete, no, he stays in P3, but look how close it is. He was only 8 thousandths off of Philip Pushka's time. Is anybody else going round on the racetrack? Joseph Herlock still pushing onwards. Pushka, I think, has abandoned his lap. He won't be going for it. Herlock also misses the apex as they come into the final section, but he himself is looking to improve. Can he jump the likes of Norbert Jakab and Luke Mitchell? Let's have a look as he runs to the line. Joseph Herlock will go P7. Nice little lap there for the Optimal driver, slots himself forward. That was a scintillating end to that qualifying session. Jose Soriano, what a lap that was, taking pole position here at round number 2 by 700ths of a second. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic stuff there to wrap up qualifying for round number 2 here at the Istanbul Park in GPVWC Superlights. Amir, what a lap that was from Jose Soriano.
The Spaniard did absolutely incredible there for his final lap. We talking about before about how hard it was for drivers to string through perfect sectors in. They were going purple one sector, but then yellow or green for the remaining sectors. But look at Soriano, though, purple through sector 1 and sector 3. He really deserves that pole position and really does set a strong precedent for the race. He's 700ths faster than Pushka, which is remarkably pretty far for Superlights, to be honest. And Jose will be absolutely proud of that.
It is Jose Soriano, his second ever GPVWC event, and he finds himself on pole position for Netrex GP. Philip Pushka in P2 for Drake Racing. Fantastic lap from him with Ruven Machete in P3. Top 3 covered by less than a 1/10 of a second. Race winner last time, Tom Satherley. He's 4th for Brem GP with Mike Quint for Lunark. Nice little lap there for Quint. He finds himself 5th. Jan Dragoon, the Czech driver, in P6, leading the True North charge. Joseph Herlock, he's there in the sister Optimal car in P7. The Cass Rietveld in the sister Brem GP car in P8. And Harry Smith in the sister Netrex GP car. He's P9 with Luke Mitchell. He leads the Kings Racing lineup and rounds out our top 10. Further down, P11 is Norbert Jakab with Noah Tuamala and Patchko Magnussen. They're 11th and 13th. Darren Krupa, he completes row number 7. Mirko Lucchini, he's 15th and the last of our drivers who will be starting on the tyres that they're qualified on. Matthias Canapino is 16th. Row number 9 is Robin Merling. Dominic Koroshavin with Maxime Buehler and Alexander Ragota rounding out our top 20. All of those guys from 20th to 1st just covered by one singular second, and that extends to 21st as well. Daniel Scott, he's there alongside Daniel Herlock for Lunark. Chris Gitsoff, he's in P23 alongside Scott Mitchell-Mum. Tom Van der Voort, he'll be disappointed with that qualifying session. He'll be desperate to try and move forward in the race. He starts alongside Christos Philo. Michelle Galka, he starts 27th, and it's a TTF P28 and P29 with Jan Sikora and Alex Hallows. Remco de Joux not setting a lap time for Fusion Racing, so I wonder perhaps if he had a penalty carried over from last race or maybe some issues. Maybe he just didn't fancy qualifying and he wants to do a last to first challenge. Who can tell? But that is it then. 4 Superlights for qualifying for round number 2. We've got a 10-minute warm-up session on our way now, and then 47 laps of racing around here at the Istanbul Park, located, funnily enough, just outside of Istanbul in Turkey. If you're just joining us, wow, 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 what a qualifying second that was. Fabian Jungbluth on the cameras, myself, Ross McIntyre and Amir Oates alongside me in the commentary box, bringing you all of the action. But what is sure to be a fascinating race as we still try to understand early doors in SL2 in 2025. Who will be hot and who will be not? What a lap from Jose Soriano, though. But as we get underway in our warm-up, Amir, let's talk about a couple of people. I believe we've been given the task. We need to talk about Lunark and Fusion Racing.
Yes, we have been designed to discuss about this during the warm-up here, but let's have a talk about Lunark though. We've seen with Mike Quent, but the previous Formula Sprint 1 championship, the team has nicked him from his title last year, and he's actually made his grand return to the Superlights. The last appearance that he's made was, funnily enough, the last time we were here at Istanbul Park back in 2020. Back then he restarted his past season with 27 points, and then he finished 24th back then. So now he's retrying again with Lunark. And he's shown some pretty good momentum maybe to carry through, even though that he did do the DNF. But it's not all bad for Lunark, because Daniel Hurlock himself, he recorded his points for 2025 to his name, so he's also done pretty well so far. He's also making his return to the Superlights. Well, actually in 2020. In fact, it's been 5 years since actually Daniel Hurlock has made an appearance in the GPVWC. So the fact that he's managed to, after such a long extended period of time, to return back on your first race and score points is no easy feat, and especially for Lunark, I think they'll be very proud of that. Though Daniel does start 22nd though, there's absolutely no denying of his talents, and I expect him to continue his momentum here in Istanbul.
Absolutely. It could be very interesting to see how he goes forward. Yeah, Lunark should be interesting to watch those guys. Over to Fusion Racing as well. Maxime Bulliot, Remco de Joux, same lineup as last season for the Canadian squad. And, well, maybe not quite the qualifying session to write home about today. Maxime Bulliot a bit disappointed with that one. I'm sure they will be at the back end of the top 20. Remco de Joux not setting a lap time in that number 14 car, so I wonder what is going on there. I've not seen anything that immediately catches my attention. I've seen no complaints in the Discord, no one's shot me a message about it, so I have no idea. Unless, Amir,
he's crashed. He crashed in the first lap.
Oh, well, we missed that one. Well, big shame there for Remco de Joux then. Yeah, got it a bit wrong on the outlap, and that was that then. So that's why he will be starting from the back. Big shame there for him. So not the greatest start to the evening for Fusion Racing, but they're a squad that was definitely on the up in 2024. Had some very, very strong results towards the back end of the season. And, well, we just saw some fantastic driving from both Bulliot and Remco de Joux as well. De Joux picking up points basically everywhere he went. Bulliot as well really started to find form towards the back end of the year, as a lot of drivers did, I think. Seeing as how we had the championship wrapped up so early last year, we saw the likes of Alex Laho and Jack Mayer sitting out a lot of races at the back end of the season because there was nothing really for them to fight for. And it really opened the doors for a lot of drivers, maybe a little bit further down the grid, to have some experience fighting up the front and have a go fighting, with the big boys and get the taste of scoring well and getting some big points. And well, it worked out well for Fusion then, but maybe they just lost a little bit of that magic in the off season or in the 2 weeks since last time out. So we'll wait and see how they're going to unfold. Currently in the warm-up, Philip Pushka, he's fastest, 127.813. Cas Riefeld in the Brem GP car, he's looking quick at 128.176. Part of the joy of the warm-up session is we have absolutely no idea what's going on, because it could be people just banging in qualifying laps, it could be them doing race testing, it could be people trying out different tyres. Some people, especially down in Formula Sprint 2 and Formula Sprint 1, with all due respect to those guys, like to just crash into each other, and you do see it sometimes here in Superlights. They take it seriously, but they're a fun bunch, really. So we'll have to wait and see if the warm-up session means anything when the green flag drops and the red lights go out. Amir, coming into this one then, so it's an interesting grid. I mean, we're seeing the same group of people that we saw who were quick in Australia up the front, but in a different order. So who do you think is going to be fast? Is there anyone that you're immediately penciling in going, yep, you're going to win the race today, or you're not really sure what's going to happen?
To be honest with you, Ross, no. I think, frankly, it's impossible in this case, especially in the Superlights, as competitive as it is. Like, back in Melbourne when I was commentating, there was at least 7 or 8 different potential race winners there, and they all got eliminated one by one by either poor strategy or by, mistakes, because in Melbourne it was very hard. I think Istanbul has got some of that same characteristics in compared to Melbourne, because in comparison, the walls are fairly close in some corners as well, so it's not a lot of room to make mistakes. It's really really, really hard on the tires. So tire management is going to be a very big factor to play here. So I think it's going to be down to strategy, how well you attack if you do go for a 2-stop, and how well you defend if you do a 1-stop. But I think the biggest factor of it all is going to be tire management, how well you can, attack, how well you can defend. You can expect to see people coming through turn 8 as well, especially like on the, let's say, the mediums worn down, to lift off a little bit, and that's going to cost them time, because out of turn 8 it's a slow straight following through turn 9 and 10, but that's a very prime overtaking area, and with that after it comes the DRS straight. So expect to see some battles around that time, especially during the second half of the race.
Yeah, absolutely. It could be very, very interesting. Of course, if you are watching along, let us know who you think is going to be on top. And of course, if you have a little inside piece of information you'd like myself or a bit to read out, don't be afraid to DM us over on Discord. We don't bite most of the time. I'm normally quite friendly if you catch me on a good day. But it could be quite interesting. I've seen that Massimiliano Raboli is saying that Tom points today. That could be a multitude of Toms. But, well, we'll have to wait and see who that means. A lot of support for Ruben Machete and Joseph Herlock as well. A lot of support for Ruben Machete out there tonight. Great to see he's got some fans watching along. It could be very interesting to see how it all unfolds out on the racetrack. I do believe we are not far away from the end of our warm-up session, and we are certainly not 2 minutes and 30 seconds left on the clock. And we're getting a lovely rearward view from one of the PZW cars. I'm not entirely sure which one it is because I can't quite make out the number. I believe that we are looking at Matthias Canapino, but again, it's quite hard to tell just with the number placement. Of course, that's not me saying it's a bad livery. It's a very good livery. It's bad camera placement from R Factor 2, and we'll leave it at that. As we go into this one, another thing as well that I did saw, someone had a slightly updated livery coming into this race. Let me just check and see who that was. I want to say it was Lunark, but I think I might just be talking...
TTF Racing, I think it was.
Apparently it's KV86. KV86.
So we're both wrong.
Yeah, both wrong. Yeah, KV86 apparently an updated livery coming in, but apparently it's very hard to notice any difference between it. But supposedly they do have a new livery coming into this one. So for any fans of KV86 Powerhouse, there you go. You can tell us what's different there, because at a first glance, I am not entirely sure, to be honest with you. Yellow flag out in Sector 1 for some reason, but everyone seems to be okay, as there is one of the KV86 cars making its way into the pit lane. Not many cars out on track at Amir. It looks like there's only about not even half the field, maybe 13, 14 cars out there. So I think everyone at this point, as we're seeing people starting to do race starts, get their practice in. I think everyone is getting ready to go racing.
Yeah, absolutely. Mentioned before, the warm-up, people be doing different kinds of things. Also, people not showing up. I think there was 8 drivers, I believe, that didn't do, no, 5 that haven't set a lap. So that means haven't really taken much in the warm-up, and we'll say they're fairly confident, I would assume. But yeah, everyone's just trying to make sure everything's all looking good in the data, and just making sure that pace is there, or if they need to set a fast lap, that they can able to do it so, and easily so. Also, maybe take it into account on the tire wear as well, which is also a very big factor. As you see, one of the Kings Racing drivers is going to start making a practice start. Which start is also really, really important here, especially in Istanbul, because you mentioned it before, that very tight turn 1. It's a very prime overtaking area, but once you get that good position there, it's a dirty air coming out from turn 2, so it kind of cements it a bit, and then follows through that series of quarters in the first and second sector. Means that whatever positions that you gain through that first lap, it's more likely to stick there until the DRS happens.
Absolutely, it's definitely beneficial to qualify in an odd number position as well, because those are the positions that have the inside line down into turn 1. So first, third, fifth, etc, etc. I'm sure we can all do maths here. We're all big enough and ugly enough to work out what that all means. So yeah, that could be crucial, as having that inside line down into turn 1. It is very much a corner. You can just shove your opponents out to the edge of the racetrack if you're getting a bit aggressive. But as well, outside of turn 1, if you're able to hold it there, it is tricky, but it does give you the inside into turns 2. So maybe you could get away with it. Who is to tell? Checkered flag is now out of the warm-up. We are moments away from racing here. Round 2, the 2025 GPVWC Superlights season. And oh boy, are we excited. Well, Amir's been waiting 2 weeks for this. I've been waiting several months for this after I unfortunately wasn't able to be here at Australia. And man, oh man, it is a pleasure to be back, and it's a pleasure to be bringing all of the action here from Istanbul Park. 47 laps await us here at a very tricky, a very technical, a very complex circuit that is a fan and driver favourite alike. It really separates the wheat from the chaff, and you really need to be good around here as we're waiting for the drivers to spawn their way onto the grid. Amir, any final comments, any final thoughts before we get going on our formation lap?
This is going to be really exciting. Seen it before with the great racing action that we've seen here for the past 3 series. This is going to be probably an entirely different kind of racing that we're going to see here for the Superlights. But to be honest with you, Ross, I'm extremely looking forward to this. And honestly, it's anyone's guess as to see who's going to win. But I'm curious though, Ross, you have not been here for about months and been very excited here to come back into Istanbul. I'm curious what your predictions are for what awaits us here in Turkey.
Well, it could be very interesting. We saw a huge lap from Jose Soriano to get onto pole position, but Filip Puška has been looking rapid in testing leading up to this. He's been looking rapid all evening. He was fastest in practice. He was fastest in the warm-up, and he just seems confident behind the wheel of that drag racing car. He's lining up P2, so he has to negotiate around the outside of Soriano, perhaps a diving Ruven Machete as well, who's also looking very quick. But just looking at the drivers that we've got in that top 10, the one that immediately springs to my mind is Filip Puška. But again, Soriano, amazing lap in qualifying. He looks very confident. It's only his 2nd ever GPVWC start. He took 3rd place in his first one last time out in Australia. Ruven Machete as well, great lap for him. Tom Savley, race winner last time as well. Don't count him out. It's an incredibly stacked grid here in Superlights, as it always is. But just looking through the who we've got here, it just looks absolutely insane, the drivers that we got. They're making their way onto the grid now, and that looks to be everyone spawning into position. Gotta love R-Factor 2, over 10 years old now, this little old game, and still serving us well, even with all its quirks and little charms. Underway then, on our formation lap. Let's run through the grid one final time before the red lights drop, and we can go racing. On the pole, it will be Jose Soriano. Puška lines up alongside him with Ruven Machete in 3rd, and the race winner last time out, Tom Satherley. He starts P4 for Brem GP. Moving further down, row number 3 is Mike Quint and Jan Dragoon, the Czech driver in qualifying. They're followed by Joseph Herlock and Cas Rietveld in the other Brem car, so a solid start to the season for those guys. Harry Smith and Luke Mitchell, they round out the top 10. They're followed by Norbert Jakab in P11. Noah Tuomela is in P12, leading the charge for KV86 Powerhouse, but just behind them is their teammate in the other car. It's Marco Magnussen in 13th, but David Krupa in 14th. Row 8 is Marco Lucchini and Matthias Canapino. PZZW, they're lining up ahead of each other on the grid. Robin Merling is 17th, with Dominic Koroshav, the Ukrainian driver, he's P18. Maxime Bulio, the one lap setting Fusion car, is 19th. Alexander Ragotza rounds up the top 20, the Gallery 82. Daniel Scott is 21st, with Daniel Herlock in 22nd, or Daniel Rowe there, with Chris Kitsov 23rd, and Scott Mitchell-Marr, he starts in P24 in the King's Racing car. Tom, not Vincent van der Voort, as I always say, 25th, with Christos Philo 26th, Michelle Galker is 27th, and Jan Sikora is 28th. 2 more drivers await us, and those are Alex Hallows in 29th and Remco de Joux, who didn't set a lap in qualifying after having a little collision on his outlap. A real shame for him, but a little last to first challenge perhaps for the Dutchman. That's your grid then, and boy oh boy, Amir, this could get very interesting. Not even just down into the first corner, just over the whole kind of opening section of the race. Could be very intriguing. Interesting to see as well, a lot of drivers starting on the soft tyres. In fact, I think we've only got about 5 or 6 who are starting on the mediums. They're all down the back of the pack, so basically everyone in the top 22, 23 starting on the softs. So everyone looking to be on a similar strategy here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think everyone's just going to be pushing as much as they possibly can, deplete the tires as they possibly can for the early stages of the race, just attack for the corners as they could, and make some really, really early overtakes, and hopefully with everything settled in midway for the race, then can come in the strategies and then decide to put on into the harder compounds and then hopefully stick that up for the rest of the race, because as the quicker that you get into the hards, the more you can attack for the corners. There's only so much attacking you can do with softs, especially for the top 15 with the worn softs that they already have. But it's going to be very interesting, Ross.
It will be indeed. All of the drivers are in position. The red lights are on. It is lights out. We are underway. What a launch for Soriano. Gets struggled in the second phase of the launch, and that's going to invite Machete up into second place, down into turn one, still side by side. Spin in the background, right into the middle of the pack. Yellow flags are waved. That's going to be a lot of cars getting collected, but it is Soriano that leads as they all gaggle away behind them, all trying desperately to scramble for position. And look at that, lots of cars have got caught up in that one. We'll have to wait and see what's gone on. I think I just saw someone without the front wing, someone else getting sent off the track. It is chaos here in Turkey early doors. Oates has no front wing. He's crabbing heavily. Was he the driver that got punted round in front of everybody? And he'll have to make his way back to the pit lane. What a shame for Alexander Oates there. Still yellow flags out. Soriano already 1.2 seconds ahead. Jan Dragoon making moves. That is wonderful on Mike Quint. Jan Dragoon take a bounce on the Czech driver. Sends it up the inside through the turn 8 section, and he'll make P5 his and can now push ahead. Pushka has managed to get back through Ruven Machete after losing out off the line. He just didn't get that launch. I don't think the reaction was great, and it looked like the car bogged down in the second phase as well. So Machete back behind, still pushing his. Harry Smith having a look on Mike Quint, has the inside line, has the braking ability. Does he have the position? Not quite yet, because it will be. In fact, it's actually Herlock having a go on Harry Smith and not Smith having a go on Mike Quint. Herlock still trying to push then, still side by side. Herlock gets down too aggressively on the accelerator. He'll have to slot back into position. Lap 1 comes to an end though. It's Soriano from Pushka, from Machete, your top 3. They've held position there, but it was a really, really poor launch from Philip Pushka, Amir. He's dropped back massively, giving Soriano some fantastic breathing room early on.
1.6 seconds for Soriano and Pushka is an absolutely barnstorming start for the Spaniard. It's exactly what he needs. As there's Tomelo, he's going to go a little bit wide, and it's a bit of a scuffle between himself and Reitfeld. Reitfeld just about makes it ahead of the Finn driver to get himself up into 9th, but that was absolutely carnage on the first lap. I think that's just shown that it's been such a long while since we've raced here, and a lot of people here didn't know how to start on such, cluster of a track. So I'm going to have a look at a replay to see all the 4 cars that were damaged in that.
From the looks of things, it looks like it was Ragotza, Renko de Jeu, Tom van der Poel, Scott Mitchell-Marn. They all seem to have gone into the pit lane. Norbert Jakab as well looked like he was caught up. He's well down in the pack, as well as Michel Gauka. So lots of drivers getting hurt there early doors. Daniel Scott, I think, as well. He may have even retired. He's 1 lap down already. Wait and see for when the ticket comes around. And yet Daniel Scott has DNF. What a real shame for the rookie Monsters driver. Just chaos on the opening lap here in Istanbul. There's a big move behind there being made. That looks like the Chini on Canapino, or an attempted move. Didn't quite come to fruition on that occasion. Soriano, 127.893. He's seen the opportunity. He's already broken the DRS, and he is bolting. 1.5 seconds now the gap. He's going 2/10 quicker than Philip Pushka. Behind Pushka, though, Machete has just set the fastest lap of the race, 127.875. So Machete looks like he's got the pace. He's trying desperately to make his way through Pushka. Early doors, it seems like Pushka just didn't get away at the line. A really, really disappointing start for the Drake Racing driver. And now it looks like he may be on the defensive. Lap 3 of 47 here at Istanbul Park. Soriano, Pushka, Machete, your top 3. They're followed by race winner last time, Tom Savali. Jan Dragoon making his way up to 5th. Mike Quint is 6th. Harry Smith, P7. Joseph Herlock, P8. Noah Tuamela is P9. And Cass Riedveld in P10. And, well, we saw the chaos there on the opening lap, and a lot of drivers are well out of position early doors. Hopefully we'll be able to get a replay of it at some point, but honestly I wouldn't be surprised if we did. Maybe we will. I've got a yep in my ear, and we do. Fabian Jungbluth, as always, a fantastic job on the cameras and on the replays. Here's David Krupa that we're going to be following for PZZW. Here we are launching away. Oh, that's a huge dive down the inside. That was a gap that was always going to disappear, and then they all just run into each other. Somehow Krupa doesn't end up going end over end, and actually it wasn't as bad as I first thought on first inspection, but there are cars just absolutely everywhere. Here's Matthias Canapino in the PZZW car, so he's on the outside. a little bit ahead of everybody else. So it all kicked off there, got hooked behind him, and then did he spin coming back onto the racetrack? No, he seemed to get away okay, so he managed to avoid just about. So great avoiding action there. And did anyone else again? We saw a few people. There's Oates without a front wing, and him just piling in. Oh dear, Alexander. I mean, well done holding the brakes there, Alexander. Great job not to collect anyone else. There's Michelle Galka getting involved with a few people. It's just everyone just kind of pinballing off of everyone, really, unfortunately. Let's see what happened to Scott Mitchell-Marm. It kicks off in front of him, not really anywhere to go. Then he gets tagged, and then he goes round in front of the pack. And that, I think, was where the real damage was done to a few of the cars. Most people were able to avoid the first incident, and not much in the second one. So that's a real shame for a few drivers, Amir, but unfortunately, turn one at Istanbul, it was almost inevitable something was going to happen. And as harsh as it is to say, that is racing.
Yeah, that's literally first one. There's Harlock has gone off. He's dropped a lot of places as a result. So what's happened to the terminal driver?
Oh, that looks like problems. Surely, look, he's running well off the racetrack as Herlock come into contact with someone or encountered an issue. He looks to still be driving at full pace, but we saw him running very wide. He's dropped a lot of places, and the optimal driver on lap 4 is plummeting down the order. Will he come into the pits at the end of this lap? We'll wait and see, as Machete sets a new fastest lap time and Herlock does not come in. So did he just make a mistake and then got the tyres dirty and people were able to get through? No idea what has happened to the Englishman. He had a great season last year driving for Valley Esports. He's coming to 2025 with some his lofty aspirations as Chris Gitsov looks for a gap that wasn't really there. Somehow, there wasn't a gap between himself and Kirsten Svilo. 3 wide as they go into the left-hand. Surely this doesn't work. Oh my goodness me. Grab your popcorn, hold on to your loved ones. We are seeing something sensational here at Istanbul Park. Chris Gitsov is putting on a display for us. He may be fighting for P17, but he wants us to know that he's fighting for it. Hats off to the Alpha Sierra sim racing driver. Man, that could have ended very, very badly. Fantastic trust. Fantastic respect shown in each other by all of the drivers involved to not let a collision happen, to allow this hard racing to happen. Boy, oh boy, Amir, I tell you what, is there a break halfway through this? Because I'm going to need to catch my breath at some point.
Yeah, I literally shouted out loud because Gitsov just goes a little bit wiggly, but I was honestly expecting another accident coming out from turn 2, but Svilo did really well to defend from 2 oncoming attacking drivers who have Superlights experience, as there's Gitsov. He's now under attack from Magnussen, now almost 3 wide coming for the final sector. Now a little bit of a tag waste though, but still Svilo just about holds off from Magnussen and Gitsov just loses the position over to Magnussen now. He drops down just 1 place, but still holds to P18 though from Herlock. No, Herlock actually goes on the attack now, going to be on for a double overtake now, heading for turn 1 now. Herlock makes the move down the inside through for P18, and Svilo loses to 17 for Magnussen. Great racing here.
Herlock seemingly starting his recovery after whatever issues he had earlier on. Nice little move there. Easy as you like down into turn 1. Pretty textbook. Whoa! What on earth with a Ricardo-esque dive bomb? David Krupa! That was from miles away! Goodness gracious me, that's an incredible effort on the brakes. I mean, it was almost like he wasn't going to make the corner center anyway. Unreal from the PZZW driver. These guys are fighting for P17 and they're pulling stuff like this out on lap number 6 of 47. Oh, we could be getting a bit hot under the helmets very shortly. Man, oh man, from David Krupa. Wow, that's he just appeared on the inside of him. I have no idea how he's got away with that one. Genius. Now he's got the DRS as well. He could be trying to go for even more to the outside. In front of him, Herlock looking for a move on Svilo. 3 wide once again. Svilo could be losing 2 places. Gets sideways. They are banging wheels as they make their way. Oh, huge whack into the side there from Herlock, and coming into the pits. Who was that dived in? That was Herlock. There was a big hit there, and I think it may have caused him some damage. Immediate decision to come into the pit lane, and Joseph Herlock's day goes from bad to worse. It's lap number 7, and the optimal driver is in. Goes for a set of hard tyres. Should be able to take those to the end of the race. I wonder though, yes, he is getting repairs. We saw that huge impact between himself and one of the drivers he was fighting with. And then, well, into the pit lane he goes. This is what happened earlier, I believe. So Joseph Hurlock was running fine. Oh, just hooked the curb. Got it wrong. Got sideways. Managed to stay out of the barrier. So a huge spin there for Joseph Hurlock, but well held out of the Tech Pro. And this is where we saw him coming back onto the racetrack. So at this point, hot tyres, dirty tyres, maybe a little bit frustrated with himself as well. And then David Krupa, let's have a look at this move going in front. Look at how far back he is through the left-hander. Gains a lot through the left there, and then just bang, up the inside, no hesitation. That is a fantastic move from the Polish driver. Take a bow, sunshine, absolutely superb.
That was incredible. That was honestly one of the best overtakes I've ever seen in my commentary career. Absolutely unexpected, out of nowhere, and caught the defending driver completely by surprise just how far back he was. And he gained a position as a result. Well deserved. He's still up into P17. Wow.
Yeah, meanwhile, Jose Soriano's leading. Yeah, that's the thing that's happening up the front of the pack. The gap stabilised around 1.4. Pushka still in second from Machete. Not a lot of movement up the top of the pack. Jan Dragoon's lost out to Mike Quinn. He's back down to 6th place. But really, the top 10's all kind of very similar. All kind of just following along at the moment. There's some gaps building up to this top 4 that we're seeing here. It's 1.3 between Soriano and Pushka, but the rest, Machete and Savvy, they're all within DRS range of each other. And we've got a 2.5 second gap back to Mike Quint. He's followed by Jan Dragoon, so I think those two fighting very heavily. Then Harry Smith's in a bit of no man's land. Noah Tuamala a further 2 seconds back, and then a whole gaggle of cars down to 14. All very, very close in that train. There's Noah Tuamala making their way through turn number 8, which is, let's be honest, it's 4 corners realistically. It's a quad apex, which, quite frankly, when God made motor racing, I think if he'd have heard the term quad apex, I think he would have just shut the entire thing down straight away, because it's just an abomination. But my, oh my, it's a fantastic corner. Noah Tuamala potentially under attack here, will be under attack from Mitchell. Mitchell has the inside line. Tuamala on the clean side of the track. Mitchell gets it done before the braking zone, leaves the door open. They are going to touch wheels as both of them sideways on the brakes, and still side by side now through the penultimate corner. Some ridiculous racing early doors here in Istanbul. Tuamala is going to just about hold on, or not quite. Mitchell able to get the run out of the final corner, still side by side. Tuamala surely going to be dropping everything he has to keep hold of that position, and indeed he will. Down into turn 1, had the inside line. My oh my, that got very, very close for comfort. Luke Mitchell's not taking no for an answer though, still looking for a way through. Still looking left, looking right, seeing if there's any opportunity. Doesn't fancy the inside into the right-hander. Gets a little bit squirrely on the throttle pedal. Tyres will surely be starting to get a bit hot now, starting to get a bit warm. Those soft compound tyres, especially those that started on the same tyres they qualified on, they'll be starting to think about diving into the pit lane at some point, surely within the next 10 laps. Definitely within the next 10, should I say, potentially even within the next 5. We'll have to wait and see how they last. But man, oh man, these guys are racing ferociously hard, and this is why we love Superlights. It is just superb action. It's the second rung of the GPVWC ladder, but it holds so much prestige. These drivers, they're not just fighting for glory at a very high level of sim racing. They're fighting to impress the team bosses up in Super League, to fight their way into the very, very top of R Factor 2. And they are leaving it all on the line here, and only race 2 of the season. Tuamala and Mitchell still side by side. Once again, we go into the on a Canapino and Rietveld. And Tuamala's going to hold position. Was that contact in the back there between Canapino and Rietveld? May have been, as Canapino gets through, but gets squirrely. A mistake there as well from, I believe, Tuamala. He's dropped the position over again. Oh, boys, this could get a bit interesting. Lock up in the background there from someone. Was that an accident waiting to happen? Oh, yes, it was. Someone's going very slowly. Who's that dropping down? Was that Lucinia, possibly? Someone going very slowly indeed. Mirko Lucchini, I think, locked the brakes and almost caused an accident, but he's just about held on to it. Man, oh man, this is crazy, crazy stuff.
Look up below though, he's gone up into 13th though after another overtake onto Milling. So that Fusion Racing is back up into the position that he was back in Melbourne. He's always done great moves since his grid position, and he's doing something similar here. Amazing there from the Canadian. He's going to be going up into this amazing battle for P9 though.
Absolutely, just a bit of information for you. Daniel Scott was not caught up in that first lap crash. He actually had a technical issue. The game bugged out his engine conked out, and so did his overlay, and then had a problem with his wheel, couldn't get his ignition working. So a real shame there for Daniel Scott. A combination of an issue with his technical side of things, and then as well an issue on the mechanical side of things. It all just, well, the car just didn't want to work. R-Factor 2 wasn't shining on today, and Pushka is right on the back of Jose Soriano. What? The man had a 1.5 second lead, and now all of a sudden the top three are within half a second of each other. This race is just, it's throwing everything out of us. DRS as well. Was there a mistake perhaps for Soriano? Amir, what is going on? I've got no idea.
I think he's too aggressive on the tires, trying to make as much as he possibly can at the start. Either that or the push to partial mechanic maybe to push away. But Pushka and Macheta though, done really well to get all to the back of the Spaniard though, even before the pit windows open. So that's going to be even crucial. So this, it really is for the lead now. So it's going to be interesting to see what these two drivers can do, but they have to nitpick their time to overtake, because again, the stops are so worn that they cannot go full out on the high-speed corners, especially through turn 8, and that might play in Soriano's favor.
Yeah, it may well do. Machete pushing onwards though, still holding on. He's had great pace so far. Don't crash, says the message on the halo, and well, he's definitely not doing that so far. He's been fantastic in the optimal car. On board with Pushka though, as he makes his way through behind the wheel of the Welsh car, the Drake Racing squad, who had a strong back end of 2024, and he's looking to make 2025 even stronger as he pushes his way through. Of course,
here we go.
Norbert Jacob got caught out in the opening lap incident, but Philip Pushka straight up the inside, textbook as you like, and to the lead. Soriano surely will be diving into the pit soon. I think you're bang on the money, Amir. I think his tyres have just started to fall to shreds.
Yeah, I think he definitely needs to pit sooner than later, otherwise he's going to be dropping down even more positions now. You see there with Ruben, he's so much on the back of him now, heading through turn 1, through turn 2. He's gone a bit faster than Soriano there. See with the lines that he's taken as well. Yeah, the Spaniard is being very cautious on it, and Machete is just looking to try and make a move and make it stick. Almost has a look for it down for that corner, but not quite just yet. And you could just see here on the time reports to your left, there are people pitting now and moving on to the hard compounds.
Absolutely. Sakura, Krupa, Mitchell coming in. We've also lost both of the Gallery 82 cars. Galka and Ragots are both gone in the blink of an eye. And that squad's day is done. A real shame for them. Lap 12 of 47. That's 3 DNFs now. We also lost Daniel Scott after a technical issue at the start of the race. But Soriano, yeah, look at the time that he's losing to Pushka now. He's tried to push too early on. And, well, unfortunately for Jose, bit of a schoolboy error there. It is only his second race in GPVWC. He may not quite have the knowledge on the tyres that the likes of those around him who've been racing in this series for years and years and years have. He may have just gone for it, and suddenly, well, when the cliff appears, you're not getting back away from it. Ruben Machete thinks about a look into the final section on the man who started on pole position. It is quickly falling down the order. Does he pit this up? No, but Pushka does. The race leader comes in, Philip Pushka for Drake Racing. Lap 12 of 47, and he is the first of our front three to take a gamble. Satherley also comes in. No, he doesn't. That's a mistake. It said he was coming in there for a moment. But Pushka, the first of our true front runners to bite the bullet and come into the pits. What tyres does he go on to? Surely it's going to be a set of the hards. Will be a set of the hards. So where will he come out then? Harry Smith also in Canapino, Bueller, Magnussen, they're all in the pits as well. Pushka looks like he's going to come out behind the Alpha Sierra guys, behind Koroshavin and Gitsov, and he will just about work his way up in front of Gitsov actually, so a bit of clear air with fresh rubber. I don't think Gitsov or Koroshavin will fight him too hard. They're both smart drivers. Look how much done. Wow, Gitsov really struggling on the brakes there. His tyres are going to be screaming underneath him. As I was saying though, both Koroshavin and Gitsov, they're both smart drivers. They know not to fight someone when it's not really their race. And Pushka right now is really not. Yellow flags are out in sector number 1, but they're gone as quickly as they arrived. Looks like everybody was okay. Joseph Herlock's gone. Joseph Herlock, another DNF. What has happened? The Englishman was having a rotten day as his teammate makes the move for the lead. Up through Soriano goes Ruben Machete. Joseph Herlock, our 4th DNF of the evening. It's really not but his day, and there we go, all of them diving in. Soriano, Machete, Satherley, all 3 now. Who's going to win the race off pit road?
Oh, this is going to be interesting to see. Also, keep a lookout for Phil Pushka, who's pitting in a lap earlier. He's going to try and see to the undercut. Machete almost went beyond the pit box, which Herlock did last time round. But let's have a look to see who's going to win on pit road. As you say, keep an eye out for Pushka as well. If he's pit earlier, may have put himself in favors because he was the one that was the least struggling on the tires. Made that overtake on Soriano. See now there with Reuven now. There's Harashevin. There they go. Move up. And yeah, I think that was good for Pushka. Pushka's up into third, and he's actually beating Showdown Soriano. Massive advantage.
Yeah, that's huge. That is absolutely huge for Philip Pushka. Boxing a lap earlier, that seemed to be the way to go, and now he has the net lead of the race. Jan Dragoon and Cas Rietveld in front, still yet to box. Koroshavin as well, separating Machete and Soriano again. I don't think he'll make it too hard for them to get through, but that is still the gap that the Drake Racing driver will want to have seen. So Pushka now net lead of the race. Apparently he's not had a pit stop, according to the graphics, but he can guarantee you he certainly has. And well, on those hard tyres, they should, keyword should, be going to the end of the race. Tom Savalli as well, he's now right behind, well, with Gitsoff in the way, right behind Soriano. And the race winner last time out, only his second ever race win in GPVWC as well. He'll be looking to work through. Oh, that's aggressive. On the inside, and they come together! Savalli gets off! Unbelievable! Hard into the wall. Savalli has got to be out of the race. What went wrong for the race winner in Australia? The gap appeared. Gitsoff goes. Does Savalli try and make his way out of the track? Let's see what happened on board with the Kiwi. The championship leader raised. Oh, he just lost the rear. He had the DRS open and the rear just snapped, and that is heartbreaking. That is absolutely heartbreaking. Gitsoff as well. So frustrating. There was nothing he could have done. He left the door open. He knew that Savalli was going. And there was a bump there. Actually, they both lost it. They both lost it on a bump before the contact was made. 2 into 1 does not mix. Oh, and that is devastating. When you've got the DRS open, when you hit a bump like that, sometimes the rear just snaps. It's happened to me before. It is the most infuriating, frustrating, embarrassing thing because you look silly and that's
lost it.
Oh, wow. That's a huge, huge hit into the code. Man, oh man, no wonder he's retired. That was a huge crash. Got it wrong, got hooked on the curb. That's what happened to Joseph Herlock with a massive, massive accident. But boy, oh boy, wow, that's got to hurt for Savalli and Gitsoff. That is now 6 retirements from this race. And boy, oh boy, Istanbul Park has just been throwing us curveball after curveball in round number 2. Amir, I'm going to drop you in a little bit here because before the race, you said you had a feeling it was going to be a bit on the dull side. I don't think it's dull anymore, Sunshine. Sorry,
no, absolutely not.
But man, oh man, this has just been crazy.
No, I agree with you, but Savalli being out is huge. That's 1 race winner out of the equation, so that means we're guaranteed a new race winner. That's someone off. That's Alex Hallows. He's made his debut. He's made his debut here for the Superlights this year, and I think he just simply lost on the track, I believe. We have a look at the replay here for the TTF racing driver. I thought for a minute it was Pushka, but the had gone off. This is going for turn 7, I believe. Oh, he locked up. It's a simple lockup, or either that or was a little disconnect.
I don't think he'd come into the pits yet. He was still on a soft compounded tyre. So I wonder if
that's so warm.
Just locked up and then you're just on ice skates. Istanbul, it can be very, very slippery even when it's dry. It's a track surface that doesn't offer a huge amount of grip out of the gates. But yeah, that's a very, very weird one. We'll have to wait and see if he's retired. He should be able to keep going. Only lost the front wing. No, he has DNF'd. That's a real shame for Alex Hallows. Again, first appearance this year in Superlights. Made a couple of appearances last year as well. A driver with a lot of potential. But unfortunately, it's all come undone tonight. A simple lockup. And again, Amir, it just shows how brutal this level of racing can be when you're fighting with some of the very best in sim racing. One simple mistake and you can find yourself out of the race.
Yeah, and just out of the title picture, they'll see you there with Daniel Herlock, though. He's actually going to be overtaken by 2 cars now, coming through the final 2 corners now. But look at this, with 2 men, that's oh my god, look, he's off. And he's dropped so many positions as well from that simple mistake. He's lost 5 positions, I believe, dropped down to P13.
unreal. Unreal chaos, unreal drama. This is, well, it's not Superlights at its finest, but it's certainly Superlights at its most chaotic. We are just seeing drivers dropping it left, right and centre. Istanbul Park is really being unforgiving today. Tuamela, the latest driver to encounter some struggles. Oh boy, it's lap 17 and 47. We've still got more than half the race to go. And we've had it all. We've had crashes, we've had drama, we've had brilliant racing action. What more do you want? The racing gods, well, they may not be smiling at the drivers, but they're certainly smiling at us watching along as fans. This is just unbelievable action out on the tarmac this evening. Only the second round of the 2025 season. Maybe not so much the chaos, but certainly the great racing. Long may it continue. Oh my word, McIntyre not talks about Fusion guys that much this race. Currently running in P10. That's well, work their way forward. Nice stuff there from McIntyre. Cass Revo behind him though. Cass is very, very strong. And well, could be under attack as Noah Tuamela wants to get him here. Under attack yet again. Just look at the DRS. It's so powerful.
Yeah, did it before the corner even made, so that means that Mitchell will be able to have a bit of advantage through the home stretch now, but Tuamela though still having that slipstream, so he maybe be able to conquer something up if he maybe might be able to do it, as he's going to use the DRS flap now wide open, not quite using much of the slipstream for the fin, but he's not going to try and make the overtake through turn one, so he's going to wait his time, and then maybe with his new livery car he's going to do it later stages through the race. Still a very long race though, still lap 18 out of 47.
Absolutely long way to go yet in this one, and it is just absolute chaos. The Finnish driver Noah Tuamela been in the wars and now dropping positions to Luke Mitchell, and McIntyre looking very comfortable, very quick behind as well. So it's anyone's guess to see if Tuamela's struggles are going to continue as they make their way through into the middle sector. Pushing hard, you can see even on the fresher rubber, it's yeah, just struggling. The car's just protesting for grip. It's really, really bizarre to see. Again, I know I said earlier, Istanbul can be a little bit of an ice rink sometimes. It's dry weather. Yes, the clouds are in. There is a 2% chance of rain, but you know, I don't think that's really going to write home. Track temperature of 44 degrees. It's not too hot out there either. So yeah, everyone's just really, really struggling to find the grip. Tyres clearly just protesting underneath the problems. It's Pulio to the outside now of Tuamela. Canadian against the Finn. What's going to happen here as they come into Tuamela with the now the penultimate corner. Oh, banging wheels once again. That looked like wheels to side pod, but it was light. I think just a big ricochet. Shouldn't be any damage to Tuamela. Pulio will have to settle for P10 again. But can they find a way through? Looks to the inside, maybe just trying to fill the mirrors. Down into turn one. Pulio gets it wrong, locks the rear, snaps away. Able to keep it pointing in a straight direction. And collects. Who was that? Was that Mirko Lucchini? Yes, it was. Oh, that's so unfortunate for both of them. A little rejoin. I think just two cars going for one space out on the racetrack. And we've got more chaos here. Lucchini and Pulio come together. A simple racing incident, but one with huge consequences. Pulio finds themselves down in P14. Lucchini down to P18. Oh man, this race is it's turning into a race of attrition. It's survival fittest at this point. Up the front, Pushka and Soriano. They're doing their own thing. 5/10 separating them. Machete's not been able to make his way through Jan Dragoon or Quint just yet. P5 at the moment for a man who was running within the top three earlier on. But Philip Pushka really under pressure now from Soriano. If Soriano's tyres fell off late in the earlier stint, I don't think he's quite learned from it, because he is pushing ridiculously hard as it stands. And Amir, we may be seeing yet another move for the lead in just a few moments, because look at the pace that the Spaniard had. He is right on the back of Philip Pushka.
What if he's maybe looking for a two-stop strategy, maybe for how much that he's pushing into the tires? He's been, you know, having to fight with such worn softs that he's been probably ecstatic to be, you know, attacking onto the high-speed corners on full throttle now. So that's what the Spaniard is probably hoping to do now against the Philip Pushka, who I think is doing the other thing around with how slow that he's been going. You know, managed to get the undercut, but I think is going to try and prolong his tires as much as he possibly can compared to Jose. So it's interesting to see how these two strategies, if it does happen, how they'll diverge. Or maybe Jose's maybe trying to go attacking now and then preserve for the long way around, which I'm not entirely sure if that might be the best way to go through, since he has not made quite the move yet onto the German as of yet. But yeah, and it's very interesting to see, Ross. It's going to be a very exciting duel here. We've seen those two fight a bit before in Melbourne. Pushka just about lost the lead to Sadly, but now Sadly's not here anymore. He has the chance to make it 2 podiums in a row.
Absolutely. Of course, we've got a very fascinating battle, not just in terms of action, but in terms of experience up the front of the pack as well. You've got the new boy, Jose Soriano, his second ever GPVWC race against Philip Pushka, who's been around for yonks and yonks. Of course, a former Super League champion is the German back in 2015. Could have had it in 2016 as well, was looking very, very strong that year, but had to miss 6 races at the back end of the season, as well as a couple earlier on as well. Dropped down into Superlights this year. It was a personal decision. He just had the worst luck in the world in 2024 up in Super League. Had a whole host of DNFs. I think it was about 7 or 8 in the end. Only 1 points finish as well. It just did not go his way. Decided to drop down again this year, test his mettle. First time he's raced in Superlights ever, actually. Well, second last time out as well in Australia. We know the man. He's got a lot of experience, a lot of pace. He's decided to step down this year, and boy oh boy, he's showing he is still one of the very, very best drivers that GPVWC has to offer, and he is making the new boy Soriano fight for it. But right now he does lead. Soriano 5/10 of a second back, still holding on for the time being. Let's see if Soriano decides to just hold station for the time being, or maybe try and launch a move up the inside somewhere over the next couple of laps. If you are just joining us, oh boy, you have missed one of the most insane races possibly ever in GPVW Superlights. It's just been chaos from start to lap 21. And again, still a long, long way to go as well, not even half. And it has just been unbelievable what we've been witnessing. Just go back and watch from the start, quite honestly. Had 6 DNFs so far. Technically a DNS from Daniel Scott, actually, with a technical issue. And then we've lost Alexander Ragota, Michelle Galka, Joseph Herlock with a huge, huge crash. Chris Gitsoff, Tom Satherley, and Alex Hallows as well. So 23, it's actually 7 retirements now. 23 drivers still left out there on the racetrack. Yellow flag out in Sector 2, and that's not going away. Is everyone okay? Oh, that's a huge one. And is that Jan Sikora into the... Indeed, it is. The other TTF car possibly down and out, and is down and out. Double DNF for TTF. That's a huge, huge crash into the Tech Pro. What has happened here? Let's have a look. Gets it a bit wrong. Turns in. Looks okay through there. And then, oh, just the rear lights. Comes wide. Comes back on the racetrack. So tyres, yeah, clearly struggling for grip, Amir. I wonder if the rear end just spat him out and then he overcorrected.
Yeah, I think it might be. If it happens for turn 8, it's going to make all the more sense if he's just too attacking. Takes the middle curb and accelerates onto the curb as well, and he just loses it, tries to counter steers it, but has put too much of the input and lost it into the techno barrier. So that's really unfortunate there for the tech driver. It's you mentioned before, double DNF for TTF Racing.
Yeah, real shame for them again. Just like struggling with tires.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a real shame there, but again, that is racing. All moves being made further back, potentially Mike Quince on the back of Jan Dragoon, they've actually swapped places. So Dragoon now up to 3rd. And there we see as well, Machete in P5. So it could be interesting to see how this unfolds, fighting for the final podium places. Jan Dragoon scored his breakthrough win in GPVWC at the final round last season, and Mike Quinn with a power slide. Stuff that would go down well in Japan drift competitions, maybe not quite here in Superlights. A great save, said, but he'll drop back well out of DRS zone from Machete. Makes it a 2-way fight for the podium. I mean, it's just catching absolutely everyone out. It's just, I don't know, I don't think people are losing focus or anything. It's just almost everyone has just found themselves at some point with the car not quite facing the direction that it's supposed to be going.
It's definitely the tires, I'd say, but that's really unfortunate for Mike Quint, though, because not only with that flat spot, it's going to impact him heavily in regards to the life of the tires that he can now push onto the mediums. So he's going to have to pit, if he does so, way earlier than predicted before. So that's a bit unfortunate there for Mike, I must say, but, you know, it's not entirely over for him. There's something that he can salvage that for Lunark. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see how that goes for him.
We will absolutely have to, but hopefully he's able to recover. Lap 23 of 47, just about the halfway point of this race now. And, well, he's calmed down just a little bit. Everyone started to find their own race, find their own rhythm, find their own little spot of the racetrack. But boy, oh boy, first 23 laps were certainly just unbelievable viewing to leave it up. That 8 retirements now, started with 30, 22 runners left in this run. Yeah, honestly, I think the only people that haven't really had any major issues so far is Pushka, Soriano, Dragoon, Harry Smith, maybe Kasri, but I think that's about it. I think everybody else has had some sort of sideways moment or coming together with someone. It's just been a pure race of attrition. Lady Luck is certainly not smiling on a fair few of our drivers at the moment. We're following Luke Mitchell and Matthias Canapino around at the moment. This is for P7. Canapino 8/10 back at the moment, but is certainly looking faster. On the previous lap, actually, he wasn't as quick as Mitchell. I wonder if Mitchell actually works his way through the PZZW driver, but he's still on the tail, just behind them, Cass Rietveld, Patchko Magnussen, who's actually fighting with his teammate, and they've just swapped places. So what's going on there at KV86 Powerhouse? Was that a team order swap, or is that a you're free to race, have fun, boys, just don't crash into each other? Interesting stuff.
I honestly don't think in a track like Turkey, where going side by side with each other in such high-speed corners is going to be such detrimental value to the tires, would they ever let them fight? I think it's a team order, and I think it's probably strategic, but that's exactly what KV86 Powerhouse needs, I think, to let Magnussen, who's clearly, I think, managing a bit better on the tires, to try and make a charge up towards Cass Reitfeld. So, I mean, that's my personal opinion, but it could be wrong. They could actually be fighting, who knows?
Could be indeed. I mean, it's anyone's guess. We'll have to just follow them around for a little bit and see what they do. I'm sure if they are not fighting, Tuomela probably not that impressed. He's been in the wars a little bit today, has the fin. But Patchko Magnussen, he is now up in front, but we're not seeing any aggressive attempts. DRS has been opened just to stay perhaps within the striking distance of his teammate. That last lap nearly a second slower, and missing the apex as well there. It's managed to somehow yank my headset halfway across the room, don't ask. But anyway, where was I? Tuomela, yeah, was 9/10 slower on that previous showing. So maybe just struggling for pace again. We've been seeing a little bit in the wars today. We'll have to wait and see if those guys, but it does look like he's now perhaps falling into the clutches of Robin Merling and David Krupke behind. Krupa, of course, with that monstrous overtake earlier on. Let's see if he's got any more of that magic tucked away up his sleeve on lap 25 of 47. And yeah, I think it may have been a team decision, because if you look at the gaps in here, yeah, Merling is quickly catching, I think, both of them. It may have been a put to Tuomela between the quicker car, Magnussen, and Merling. Hold him up a little bit, see if we can hold position for the time being.
Yeah, it's a wall. It's an effective wall to try and score the maximum amount of points possible, which is completely understandable, and I think that's a fair play on them for doing that. But it means that for Merling and for Krupa to make those positions now, they need to make it quick and make it fast, because if they just fight, then that's going to allow for Magnussen to pull away even further. And given that he's a faster car, no, Tuomela's into the pits.
Oh, and he comes. Interesting stuff then. So maybe, yeah, I thought they would have kept him out maybe for a little bit and let him hold up, but no, Tuomela comes in. So maybe it wasn't team orders, maybe it was just that Magnussen was the faster driver out of the pair of them. So in comes Noah Tuomela, goes on to a set of the hard compound tyres. He will be on those for the remainder of the race. So let's wait and see. Back up to the front though, it is still Pushka leading Soriano. And these two, again, nothing much really happening as it stands. It's been about 0.5 of a second separating them for the last 5 laps. So holding position, holding station, Soriano either hasn't quite got the pace to catch the back of the experienced German, or is just biding his time as it stands. Either is a possibility. We'll wait and see as the stint wears on. Does have the DRS though. Will he have a little look coming into the final section? He will certainly, because they've got it on the run into the third to last corner. To the outside goes Soriano, inside for the penultimate turn. But Philip Pushka's still there, gets shoved out, but he'll get the up on the way in. Soriano will have the DRS once again, pulls to the inside. Pushka going aggressive, gives him a shove all the way to the inside down into turn 1. But somehow Jose Soriano has gone through up to the lead. So just ignore everything I said about 30 seconds ago. These guys are still fighting, and Jose Soriano, the pole sitter, is back in front in this race. What does Pushka have to do from here, Amir? Is it maybe a case of just sit and follow, or is he going to try and fight him straight away? They do have 3 seconds back to Jan Dragoon and P3.
See with the tires, the inputs, you think Soriano's just slowly pushing away, but I think it's going to determine over the laps to see what will happen between the gap between Pushka and Soriano, because there's a chance they might be on different strategies. But look, Soriano's already pushing away, already 6/10 faster coming out through that turn 8. So I'm not entirely sure, to be honest with you, Ross, but if it is what it is, then I think maybe Pushka might need to pit, maybe. Either that or Soriano is trying to push the life out of his tires.
Potentially, we'll wait and see. As look at Soriano already trying to break the toe, so he's already on the defensive. He knows how powerful the DRS is here through this section, and Pushka is gaining. Not gaining enough to have a move, but certainly getting closer. And he will have the DRS down into turn 1 as well. Soriano is on the medium compounder tyres, according to on screen. Yeah, and it looks like Pushka's on the hard compound, but on the live timing, it says they're both on the mediums, I believe, although maybe on the hards, and I'm just being stupid. It's anyone's guess, really, but pushing onwards anyway. Yep, no, according, there we go. It's hard for Pushka, mediums for everyone else. The live timing is just lying to me at the moment. So, Soriano, well, he will need to pit again. Pushka might get away with getting to the end of the race. It depends how hard he's pushed that set of rubber. Maybe Soriano knows that Pushka's trying to go long and is pushing now, trying to build up that gap, so that when he does come into the pits, he's got a better chance of trying to fight his way back through the pack. Pushka, the experienced German, 2015 Super League champion, he is playing the long game. He's thinking tactically, he's thinking strategically, he is thinking ahead, further down the line. He wants to take this stint as long as he possibly can, so maybe he's not too concerned about fighting Soriano at the moment, who is seemingly concerned about Pushka fighting because he's going defensive everywhere where Pushka maybe gets a little sniff. So we'll wait and see how that's going to unfold. Here's Matthias Canapino and Cass Rietveld. Rietveld and me, he's had quite a quiet race today. We've not really talked much about him. He's a great driver, and slowly been working his way through up to 8th now for the Brem GP driver.
He's been very quiet indeed, yes, but he's also kept himself out of danger and out of mistakes, and it's actually done wonders for the Dutch driver because he's up into the top 10 now because of being quite uneventful. But maybe with an overtake on Canapino, though, he'll be able to make some events now. Here is going to go side by side before even turn 12, and I think that will work in Cass Rietveld's favor as the sole Brem GP driver now up into 7th, and will be able to score some very valuable points for the team, especially after Safri's DNF.
Absolutely. We'll wait and see as they make their way through. And Rietveld, yeah, continues to work his way forward. So looking very, very indeed down into turn 1. And 22 cars still left in this race. Let's hope it stays at that number after just the pure chaos of the opening 20 or so laps. Here we see Patrick Magnussen. He's managed to get to the back of Robin Merling. Looks like that Noah Tuamela, he's either come into the pits or he's had a big issue somewhere. We'll wait and see what's happened there. But the other KV86 powerhouse car in that minorly updated livery, supposedly, holding or trying to get through the Rookie Monsters driver in front. Of course, the sole Rookie Monsters car still in this race after Daniel Scott. Technical issues prevented him from making the 5 red lights start. But Merling doing a decent job so far at the moment. The German driver, very, very competent, to put it politely. He's been around GPVWC for quite some time now, always put in some solid shifts out on the racetrack. But what has he got defensively from the quick charging Patrick Magnussen, who has been looking very, very strong in the last 10 or so laps. Again, another driver who's quiet early doors, but over the last couple of tours started to push forward. The Icelandic driver may be looking to move further up. There is Ruva Machete. He's in pits for his second and presumably final stop. Another set of the medium tyres, as is Mark Quinn. Same thing for the Lunark driver. Those two race off pit road. Machete will win. Cass Rietveld now up into P5. He's yet to box again. Again, right now, Amir, the real strategy battle really is Philip Pushka going to be able to make it to the end on that hard set of tyres? Because I'm not sure.
I think it's going to be a massive struggle for Pushka if he's looking to do a one-stop. I think with fresher mediums, it's going to be extremely hard, and I don't think if he doesn't pit for a second stop, then not only is he going to risk the race win, but I think even the podium positions as well too, you know, with Machina and Quinn making the charge up the field, because you really need as much tires as you possibly can, especially through those corners, and with the amount of degradation we have seen, and also how hard it is to keep the car straight with those worn tires as well. It's going to be very hard for Philip to pull that off, and I know that it's not been ideal for him, because it's what should we say, like Philip has just been effectively pushing to try and catch up to Soriano. He's not really been backing down as well. So even so, I think he's also playing the short game as well. So we'll have to wait and see. There's a possibility that he is on the two-stop strategy as everyone else. But given that he's on the hards, it's up for debate, really.
Got to remember as well, Pushka boxed the lap before Soriano, Machete, the likes around him. So his tyres are a lap older as well. So that really just adds even more to the equation. No one really knows what's going on inside the German's mind apart from him. I'm sure he'll be on the radio to the guys at Drake Racing, discussing, figuring things out, seeing what they can do. But right now, we are playing a guessing game. Matthias Canapino, he's in for his final stop. Another set of the meet. 15 laps of the race for the 37 driver. PZZW car makes its way out of pit lane and looks very comfortable. He should emerge in around about P12, and he will emerge in P12 unless, oh, there is Patrick Magnussen. Never mind, make that P30. Oh no, that's Noah Tuomela. So he's just about in P12. Yeah, that's a shame. Noah Tuomela did well to get out in front there. 8.7 seconds separating those two from the top 10 as it stands. So a bit of a way to go, but some drivers, yes, yet to box just yet. Ruben Machete, fastest sector 1 of anybody. 132.568. So that fresh rubber really helping the Optimal driver there. Again, he was in the top 3 earlier, fallen back a little bit. The likes of Jan Dragoon were able to get out in front of him. Maybe now he's trying to launch the undercut of all undercuts and work his way back through. We'll wait and see. Tuomela, is he able to hold on from Canapino? Yes, he is. Coming through this awkward, not quite a chicane section. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I know I said at the race, Amir, that this is probably a track where the action's going to be on track and not in the pit lane. As to the inside there goes Canapino with the DRS. Simple as you like, gets it done before the braking zone and will take P11. Yeah, I know that I said before the race that it's not going to be much of a strategic race. It's going to be much more of a, as Harry Smith exits the pits on a fresh set of mediums. Robin Merling looks like on a set of the softs there. Very interesting. Yeah, basically what I've been trying to say while it's all been going on. I said it wasn't going to be strategic. This race, Amir, it's turning out to be quite strategic.
One of the most strategic races that we've ever seen in the Superlights so far. Yeah, Ruben Machete though with that undercut, 27.332. That's the fastest lap that we've seen throughout the past 32 laps. So that does show that the undercut, I think, might be working into his favor. But Pushka is slowly, I think, starting to fade away with Soriano. The only advantage that he has is just the DRS.
Yeah, but is that a fade away to preserve the tyres, or is that a fade away because he doesn't quite have the pace? Again, we have no idea what is going on over at Drake Racing compared to the guys at NetRex, compared to the guys at True North. It's Soriano and Pushka currently in control of this race, but on different tyres, potential different strategies. This one could be an absolute nail-biter come the checkered flag. Soriano started on pole position for his second ever GPVWC race. Led at the start before Pushka, who had a very poor start in his own regard, was able to work his way back through. They've traded places once again. It's really been these two. A couple of other drivers have threatened occasionally. Machete was there for June. He's always been there or thereabouts, but it's all about Soriano and Pushka right now. The Spaniard and the German on lap 33 up the top of the field. Let's see who's going to be on top over the remaining laps. There's Pushka. Again, it doesn't look like the car's uncomfortable. It doesn't look like he's struggling for tyres. That's the thing. That's the great visual teller that you can tell when someone's struggling on tyres, because the car's all over the place and they can barely control. It's just kind of how it works here at Superlights. The tyres, when they stop working, they really stop working. That's not really what we're seeing with Filip Puška, even if the tyres are starting to drop off. And a similar thing with Soriano as well. Both of them right now look pretty comfortable. So, yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on. I'm trying to rack our brains, scratching our heads here in the commentary box. We just got no idea. We'll have to wait and see when, we're expecting Soriano to pit. We think Puška might pit. Was that Jan Dragoon coming into the pits in the background? No, it wasn't, but it was certainly someone, I think, that was coming in. May have been one of the cars that's a lap down. No, it was Jan Dragoon coming into the third place in. Okay, now that's interesting. Jan Dragoon now trying to take a leaf out of Ruven Machete's book, Amir. Try and launch the mother of all undercuts. Where he comes out of the pits, could potentially go for a set of soft tyres here. He is going for the soft tyres. Oh, this could get very interesting. Potential advantage Dragoon. Here we go.
That means he needs to make an overtake on Machete and Quint as quickly as he possibly can. The more that he goes side by side, it's just going to deplete ever so faster. So needs to make it quick and needs to make it fast. But going to be interested to see for Jan Dragoon just how faster that his lap time is going to be in compared to Machete that he set earlier on as his provisional fastest time now as it stands, 27.3. Have a look at the progress to see what Dragoon has. But there we go with Soriano. Puška is catching up just a little bit. Those two have been separated by Puška has only been about a tenth faster than Soriano in the previous lap, so he is still hanging in there though. So I'm really surprised just how well Puška's managed to manage the tires, especially since they're one lap older.
Absolutely, he was actually weaving the tires there on the short shoots almost. As he was following Soriano, he dives. Oh, they're both in! Both of the leaders come into the pits! Unbelievable stuff! We thought that Puška may have been going a little bit longer, maybe even trying to get to the end of the race in those hards, but Soriano and Filip Puška now both dive in. All eyes on the side, all eyes on the graphics, on the timing tower. Where is Machete going to be? It's going to be hard, soft tires, surely both of them. Keep your eye on Jan Dragoon as well. I think Machete is going to be able to get through both of them, and he will, but he's on old mediums. Those mediums are a good couple of laps old now, so it will be the pace advantage to Soriano and Puška. Soriano wins the race off the pit lane. A little bit of traffic separating them. Actually, that's a complete lie. They're 6/10 behind is Soriano. Cas Rietveld also comes in. He was running a P4, I want to say, potentially P3. Puška, wow, he really lost out. There's 1.5 seconds down on Soriano now. I don't think Machete, it was a valiant effort on the undercut, but Amir, I don't think he's going to be holding on to that lead for...
No, Mike Quint tried to do the same thing as well and was almost just overtook Puška, but not quite. The only thing that plays in well to Machete's favour at the moment is that Soriano's tyres are a bit colder compared to his, but I think all that advantage is going to be gone come the next few laps. So in this case for Soriano, he knows he's fighting Puška, and Machete just needs to try and defend because I think he's going to be fighting for Quint and the other drivers as well.
Absolutely. Soriano's already 0.3 of a second behind. He's already well within DRS range, well within attacking range, and he's going to be attacking now. Has to go the long way around, but he'll surely be ahead by the time they get to the corner, and indeed he is. Machete doesn't fight it. Jose Soriano is into the lead of this race. Puška really has to get a move on because Soriano could just check out now and book his way onto the top step of the podium in about 12 laps time. Soriano leads once again on fresh softs. Machete in second on older mediums. Puška's in third and struggling to make progress. Jan Dragoon fastest lap of the race, 1:26.857. So he's pushing quite quickly now as well. He's not very far away from Puška either. Mike Quint separating them. So Dragoon as well could be a late factor in this one. It's all to play for on lap 36 of 47. Currently though, Soriano is absolutely checking out. It's already a second separating himself from the terminal car of Ruven Machete.
If Jan Dragoon can keep that pace up for the remaining laps, I think he'll be able to snatch the last podium place, I think. That's absolutely incredible and a blistering fast lap as well. 26.8. Wow. The last one that we've had before, I think, was with Machete with a 27 point flat. So that's 0.2 faster. So if he keeps that up, I think he'll be able to get it. But gonna see how that happens. He's only got such a limited time with those softs, though.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to wait and see what's going on. A bit more information for you. Alex Hallows with DNF earlier. That was actually a brake pedal failure So it wasn't even a brake pedal, it was actually a throttle pedal failure. So he was riding the throttle into that corner. So that's why he locked up and just kept going forward. He was all on the anchors and the throttle was stuck wide open. So a real shame there for Alex Hallows. And that's why he was out of the race. So it did seem a bit bizarre at the time. Mechanical failure there for him, a stuck open throttle. Not something you see very often in mod, and indeed in sim racing as well. Soriano there, fastest lap of the race, 126.559. We are getting some rapid lap times now. I mean, cars are light, the fuel load's gone. Soft tyres towards the end, the track's at its best as well. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But Pushka is not making the progress that I think he would have wanted. He's now 1.5 or 2.5 seconds behind Jose Soriano, but he is in DRS of Ruven Machete, as Jan Dragoon is now right on the tail as well of Mike Quint, so he'll be looking to make easy work of the Lunok driver there. Look at that, nearly 9/10 quicker on the last lap was the Czech driver over Mike Quint. So I don't think that's going to be the trickiest overtake of all time. The tyre advantage, simply too much at this point. Lap 37 of 47, and right now, Amir, we are potentially seeing the race, unless Filip Pushka is able to pull something out of the bag, fall into Jose Soriano's hands. 2-second gap now. Pushka still has to get through Ruven Machete. And, well, this has worked out very, very nicely for the Spaniard.
Absolutely. I think Soriano has done an absolute clinical display of tire management. There's Pushka, needs to make it quick on Machete, and I think he'll even do so. In the back, you see Dragoon even makes it before the corner even happens. So those two are very crucial overtakes, and hopefully that's going to be the end of their duels, because they need it for their respective long-term battles, as Dragoon is still trying to make the move to Machete to try and get that podium. I think it is still within reach. 2.7 tenths is just all that he needs to climb, but Pushka 2.3 on the same tires as Soriano, going to be a very hard ask, but he's still got the push past system, so he might be able to deplete it up into the final closing stages.
I mean, we have seen absolutely everything this race, to be fair, so, you know, don't knock it till it's done. We could be seeing some more late drama. Of course, touch wood that that's not going to happen to any of our leaders, but it's always in the question. The first half of this race, one of the most chaotic we have ever seen in GPVWC Superlights. Managed to calm down over the second half, but anything is possible here at Istanbul Park. Round of the 2025 GPVWC Superlight season. Of course, if this is your first time watching GPVWC, make sure you head down to the description below on the live stream and go ahead, head into the Discord, go to the website gpvwc.com, find out more if you want to get involved. We're all quite nice, we don't bite, as Jan Dragoon continues pushing onwards, and yeah, could be quite interesting over the remainder of this race if he's able to catch up and make his way through Ruven Machete as well. Pushka has now got through and is now starting to carve into the gap, but still 2 seconds. He's got to, you know, be carving a tenth or two in every lap, more realistically, even more, maybe 3 tenths a lap, and that's just to catch Soriano. Getting around him is another question. So the race potentially going the way of the Spaniard as it stands on lap 39 of 47. We are rapidly reaching the conclusion of this fascinating contest. The twists and turns of Istanbul have provided riveting entertainment, but it's not quite done yet. Jose Soriano 2.2 seconds ahead of Filip Pushka in P2. Ruven Machete holding on. But Jan Dragoon for True North Motorsport, he is hard charging. Will he be able to work his way on to the podium? It is, it's definitely quieted down a bit over the remainder of this race, Amir. We've definitely seen some less chaos kicking off, but it must be said, still been a very, very interesting far. I have to ask you, because I always ask whenever I am here at GPVWC, it might be a little bit early, but I want to ask you anyway, who would you say so far driver of the day?
Ooh, good question. If you asked me about half a race earlier, I probably would have said Bilou. But fortunately for the mistake, it's kind of dropped back down. But if Dragoon can actually make the overtake for the final podium position, which he'll looks like because he's now within the DRS range of Machete now, I think he'll get my driver of the day if he can make this move stick.
We'll have to wait and see. He's quickly caught up to the back of the Optimal car. Can the Czech driver find his way onto the podium once again in GPVWC Superlights? Again, first-time race winner at the final round last year, and looking to continue his improvements, his strong form. Let's see what he can do. 7/10 separating them well within DRS zone. This could be, it might be a bit tricky. Machete might put up a bit of a fight, but Dragoon on that fresher, softer compounder tyre will have all of the cards in his favour. And it shouldn't be the trickiest of overtakes in the world, especially if it gets a great run with some DRS. I think I will agree with you on that one. I think Dragoon, if he is able to make it through and able to get up onto the podium, which I think he will, is a great shout for it. Again, Bulio as well, before the moment that we had, I think would have been up there. However, Soriani and Pushka, they have been phenomenal as well. Don't get us wrong. They have been the class acts of the field today, and really in a, not quite a world of their own, but they have been a little step above everybody else, and they've been providing some fantastic entertainment. And even though as it stands on lap 40 or 47, Jose Soriano is starting really to get a grip on this race and starting to control this race from the front. He has had to fight for it. Here comes Dragoon up the inside, and well, Amir, looks like Jan Dragoon's on the podium, so I guess he is your driver of the day.
Yep, that's absolutely quick and easy, exactly what Jan Dragoon exactly needs. Up into third, still got about 7 laps to go. If he's very, very lucky, maybe he might even catch up to Pushka as well, because he is still on the fresher rubber. The only thing is, though, that it's on the soft, it's going to degrade very quickly.
Absolutely, but time is ticking. There's not long left in this race. May as well try and push for it. Or is Dragoon already thinking long term? Maybe thinking, let's just hold position here. Might look nice for my championship fight if I fancy being in it a little bit later on. Of course, a DNF last time out as well in Australia on lap 32. So Dragoon already at this stage really needs some solid points. A P3, I mean a P2 would be lovely, but a P3, that is still not bad going either. Of course, there's no points for fastest lap anymore here in GPVWC. That rule's been scrapped. So you can only get a maximum of 25 for the race win. He did have the fastest lap earlier on in the race. I believe he still does as well. Oh no, it's actually Jose Soriano now. He went about 100 seconds faster. 26.558 is the fastest lap. According to my screen, the lap records are 123.802 by Mark Hutchinson. I think that may have been set on their Super League car, to be honest with you. That seems a little bit too fast because the Superlights car, they're quick, not quite that quick. Yeah, so we'll wait and see. But Dragoon up into P3. Let's see if he can catch. I tell you what, though, Soriano and Pushka, that gap is starting to come down ever so slightly. It might, Amir, be that Soriano's just backing off, trying to control the race. It might be that Pushka's starting to push a bit, but is it too little, too late from the German?
We'll have to wait and see. 5 laps, it's going to be a very big task for Pushka to push. And as you mentioned before, Dragoon is actually falling a bit behind to Pushka as well. So there's also a possibility Dragoon, as you mentioned before, is just going to consider serve, knows that he's on the softer compound and just wants to get some points rather than just risk it all. So that's also a possibility. But with everything kind of calmed down, I think this might be how the podium is set. Jose Soriano might be coming away with a win here.
Could well be. Pushka now dropping back just a little bit. The gap's fluctuating ever so slightly. He was 4 tenths quicker on that last lap, which is really what he needed to be carving out of him 2 or 3 laps ago. And that now the gap's stabilised back at about 2 seconds. I wonder if maybe there was just a small error or a loss of momentum for the race leader, just caused him to drop back a bit. We see him there just missing the apex a little bit. Yellow flags out in sector 2, but gone pretty quickly. So I'm sure just someone... Oh, Remco on! And another driver down and out, Remco de Joux for Fusion Racing. Yet another DNF. That one's late in the day. What has happened? Oh, that's spins it, gets it going in the right direction. Did he stall the car? No, able to get it going again. No, just pulled over and retired. That's bizarre. Was something broken, or did Remco just have enough there? Either way, a real shame. Another driver gone, and wow, what a transition. Well done, Fabian Jungbluth on the cameras, on the DNF over to the... With 5 laps remaining. That is a brilliant shot there. Don't say that the GPVW camera guys don't do anything. They do a fantastic, fantastic job. And that was superb. Soriano leads. Pushka once again. The gap has not moved. 5 laps left to go. It's starting to look like, pending a disaster, that Soriano has got this one in the bag in only his 2nd ever GPVWC appearance. The Spaniard, he's not put on a clinic today. He's had to work for it, but he's put in a mighty, mighty performance. Had a great pole position, led early doors. Pushka was eventually able to get through him after he ran out of tyres at the end of the opening stint. I think he just pushed a little bit too hard early on. and then he's slowly but surely, meticulously crawled his way back into the lead. And after the second pit stop window, he was offered some refuge, he was offered a bigger gap, won the race off of pit lane. And then that, as they say currently, is that as Pushka now drops back another 10th. I think he may just be starting to settle for P2, which is by no means a bad position to finish in. Again, he finished second last time out as well. I believe, if my math serves me correctly, that it would put him in the championship lead at the end of round 2. You know what, I'm going to say something.
40 points and 25. I think he's actually going to be... No, Jose Soriano will lead by 1 point, I believe.
1 point for Soriano. Okay, yeah, I can't really do maths, unfortunately. I failed my maths GCSE, it's all you need to know, really. But so Soriano will have the championship by 1 point, but Pushka, 2 second places out of 2 races. Mr. Consistency himself there from the German. So that is not bad going. Again, it's still early doors in the season. But Amir, if you want to be fighting for the title, it feels bizarre saying it, but you've got to be thinking about it already at this point. You know, we know how close it can get, not just in Superlights, but in GPVWC in general. And any disaster, you know, anything that goes wrong, even one can have catastrophic, it can just ruin your championship, essentially. So Pushka, I think he's starting to play this one smart. Soriano, though, fair play. It's been a performance and a half. He'll have 3 laps left to go, or 2 laps left to go at the line, should I say? No, it will be 3 laps left to go at the line. And, well,
2.5, yeah.
3. Yeah, it'll be a number of laps left till the end of the race. But, yeah, he's certainly put on a performance.
Yeah, I think the biggest surprise about Jose Soriano's performance really is that Formula Race is not really his expertise. He's got the expert in a different platform, in a different discipline in endurance racing, but the fact that he can easily, seamlessly transition over into a new league and a new series, and you know, be able to perform so well with not only with a 3rd place, but now also a race win here in Turkey against a veteran in Pushka's talents, I think showing very strong promises here for the Spaniard, not only just here for the Superlights, but as the entire GPVWC career for him.
Absolutely, it's certainly a promising start. And I mean, again, battling with Philip Pushka, 2015 Super League champion. He is certainly no slouch in that. Still one of the very best that we've got here in GPVWC. And, well, Soriano, yeah, he certainly showed that he's worth the money today. It can always be a big risk when you're doing that. And when you're hiring a driver from, you know, another sim racing game, from another division as well. Jan Dragoon's one I always bang on about. That's just because I knew him quite well when he used to race in Assetto Corsa, and used to, you know, race alongside him. He used to absolutely smash me. It took him a little bit of time. What'd you say? Sorry, Amir?
He what?
He smashed you? Yeah, he absolutely demolished me. He was way quicker than I ever could dream of being over in Assetto Corsa. When he jumped over to R-Factor 2, took him a little bit of time. The pace was there, it was evident, but it was just the familiarity with the game. It just takes time, it takes experience. You know, there's guys in this grid that have basically been running on R-Factor 2 since it was launched. Some of them, you know, the younger drivers probably been doing it, they came out of the quite frankly. So, you know, it's all about just experience. But Soriano, he's jumped on a new game, into a new discipline, at a very, very high level, straight out of the box. And he's already showing he's got incredible talent, and is already showing that he could very well be one of the favourites going for this championship. Robert Merling and Patrick and Magnussen, though, they're still fighting for positions. Magnussen trying to squeeze his way into the top 10. KV86, they've had an up and down day, to put it politely, but I mean, could we maybe be seeing a little overtake late in the day?
I think we might be could with Magnussen having a bit of the extra one. He's the slipstream now. He might be able to make it before even turn 1. Takes the outside line. Going to go side by side, giving each other as much racing room as he possibly can. He has the inside down through turn 2 now. Still going a little bit wheel to wheel, but Mulling will have the inside now come through turn 3 now. And I think maybe might be able to outbreak Magnussen as Magnussen goes deep in here. He does go deep and just about fends off, holding on to the middle track. And Magnussen will make that up into the top 10, as you mentioned before. Last gasp overtake in the closing stages of the race is exactly what the Icelandic has delivered.
Absolutely, but it's surely going to be 1 lap left to go for the Spaniard. Jose Soriano, one final tour of the Istanbul Park circuit, which has just offered us a fantastic race today. We had the absolute chaos of the first half and then a very intriguing strategy battle, like they were playing a game of chess out there in the second half. But it's all come out trumps for the Spaniard as he makes his way through the opening sector for the very final time. Netrex GP back in Superlights, and Jose Soriano only his second ever race. I mean, I know that we said that Dragoon was driver of the day, Amir. There was a lot of shouts for Jose Soriano in the... I can absolutely... He has been fantastic today.
Yeah, I completely agree with them as well. Like, Soriano put on an absolute clinical display here. You know, mentioned before about the disciplines, how hard it is to get into the formula, but the fact that he's shown his skill time and time again, he'll be absolutely very happy with that. As you can see, he's just weaving a little bit. He knows how happy he is to get his first win here in the Superlights as he just navigates through the final few corners. Just 3 corners are just left remaining between himself and his first Superlights race win.
The last time Netrex Grand Prix won a race in Superlights was 2019 at the second round. 2025 at the second round in only his second ever GPVWC race. Jose Soriano, he was third last time. This time he is on top. Welcome to GPVWC. Jose Soriano gonna win here at Istanbul Park with a mighty, mighty performance. And the Spaniard introduces himself with a bang. What a race we have just seen here at Istanbul Park. Jan Dragoon comes home in third. Philip Pushka will hold seventh, still fighting. Further back in the pack as well, Cas Rietveld is trying to make it a last gasp sixth place ahead of Harry Smith in the sister Netrex car. And Rietveld, the Dutchman, is going to get it. It's glory for one Netrex driver. It's heartbreak at the line for the other, as Rietveld comes home in sixth and Smith second, or seventh should I say. But boy, oh boy, what a beautiful race we have just witnessed. Chaotic and intriguing at the same time. A race of attrition and a hard-fought one out on track as well. Jose Soriano, take a bow. What a win. What a way to put your marker on GPVWC. Only his second ever race, and he is on top here in Istanbul. Fantastic stuff.
And a great way as well for Netrex and for Jose Soriano to put their mark onto both championships. Not only does Soriano lead the Drivers' Championship, but Netrex GP as well upon their Superlights return here as well. Since I think Superlights have made here, yeah. So it's going to be interesting for them as they also lead the Teams Championship as well, and they head over for the remaining races.
Gonna win here at Istanbul Park. What a race we have just seen here. Absolutely fantastic stuff from all of the drivers involved. Of course, we had some chaos. We lost a fair few early doors, but it is Jose Soriano who is on top here in 2025. Round number 2, we return to Istanbul for the first time since 2020, and he takes the victory with a fantastic performance. It's Jose Soriano on top in round number 2 in 2025. Philip Pushka was P2 with Jan Dragoon in P3. Ruven Machete was unable to hold on to the podium as he drops down to P4, with Mike Quint P5, Cas Rietveld with a last gasp overtake into P6, and Harry Smith dropping down to P7 as a result. Luke Mitchell was 8th, with Matthias Canapino in P9, and Patrick Magnussen, he rounds out our top 10 here for KV86. Powerhouse, a nice little performance from him. Kept it clean, kept it tidy, and got himself into a nice points-paying position. Robin Merling was P11 with Dominic Koroshav, the Ukrainian. A good job into P12 for Alpha Sierra Sim Racing. Noah Tuamela, after some struggles at the midpoint, he's able to hold on to P13 with David Krupa in 14th. Well, we saw the most insane overtake from him earlier on. Wasn't quite able to turn that magic into a better points-paying position, but still points nonetheless, as Norbert Jakab, after that early chaos, he was punted round and right down the order, manages to salvage a point at the end. Great for him. Mirko Lucchini was 16th, with Christos Vilo in P17th, Daniel Herlock 18th, Maxim Buehler was 19th, and Tom van der Voort, first of our drivers, a lap down in P20. So Drake Racing, bit of an an up and down topsy-turvy day for those guys. Got Mitchell Mom also a lap down, and then oh boy, look at how many we lost. Remco de Joux, DNF. Jan Sikora, DNF. Alex Hallows, DNF. Tom Satherley, DNF. Chris Gitsov, DNF. Joseph Herlock, DNF. Michelle Galka, DNF. Alexander Ragota, DNF. Daniel Scott, technically a DNS, but the game's got him down as a DNF, so 9 drivers we lost across the course of the race. Simply unbelievable. Just the chaos of the first half. But man, oh man, there'll be some disappointed drivers out there today. There'll be some furious drivers out there today. There will be some absolutely delighted ones as well. Amir, what a race we have just witnessed here.
That was absolutely incredible for to follow up with the season opener of Melbourne. Not a lot of hopes are high, but my word, that was absolutely incredible, and does just show how much that momentum really means to a lot of drivers. Soriano will be absolutely ecstatic with the race win for the second race in just the GPVWC ladder as a whole, and be very happy with that. Pushka keeps himself from P2 to make it another podium onto his collection, showing that he still has not lost his talents, and that Albert Park was not at all a fluke. And as well for that, Jan Dragoon, after his misfortunes back in Albert Park, returns back into podium winning form that we've known back in Interlagos, and he hopes to keep the True North team alive as well. So that was absolutely incredible, though.
It absolutely was. And it is now time for our interviews. And who else have we got to interview but our race winner, Jose Soriano? If we drag him in, Jose, first of all, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Fantastic stuff. Well, what a way to introduce yourself to GPVWC Superlight. Second race in, first race win, and what a way to do it as well. Firstly, a huge congratulations. That's got to feel fantastic.
Thank you so much. Well, first of all, I want to apologize for my English. It's going to be a mess. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. It's okay. But yeah, so talk us through it. First of all, let's start early stint. You had the lead away from the line, and then you were seemingly struggling at the end of the first stint. You ended up losing the lead for a little bit. What happened there?
Yeah, I had some issues with the tire management. I think this is I pushed too much at the beginning of the race, put too much fuel. And yeah, I was pushing because Putka, I think, was the second guy. He was really fast. So I had to push to the limit, and yeah, to the lap, I was struggling. But yeah, good race. I'm happy.
Yeah, I'm sure you are. Again, your first race win and only your second ever race here in GPVWC Superlights. Is this maybe the start of a championship campaign for you?
Well, Carlos told me the level here is so high. I clearly is. I think I can fight for the podiums or point scorer, but championship is too much from my point of view. If I am fighting for the high positions, I'll be happy for sure.
Yeah, sounds good. Amir, any questions for our race winner?
Got yourself a race win. Absolute congratulations. It's also on your podium streak as well. Heading over into Suzuka, you've shown your versatility through 2 different tracks back in a street circuit in Albert and a permanent circuit over in Istanbul. So I'm curious, what are your predictions for your own performances and for Netrix coming into Suzuka?
To be honest, I don't know. I had to try the track, but it's technical. Maybe the tire wear is gonna be high. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to racing to know if we are going to be competitive.
Before we let you go, Jose, I just want to quickly drag who is apparently your biggest fan into the commentary box, Carlos Martin. Carlos, if you can hear us, I'm sure you're delighted for your friend Jose. I mean, what a performance from him.
Yeah, it was amazing for him. Amazing performance. He managed really well the race.
Yeah, anything you'd like to say to him while we're here that you want the public to hear, or?
I mean, Jose, do you remember when they were doing the contests of the drivers and where they would finish, nobody was taking you into account? Well, doubters are shout now, so fantastic for him, amazing.
In fact, you told me let these guys know me.
Yeah, let these guys know you, yeah. Now they know you. Now they know.
Certainly do, they certainly do. Carlos, thanks for joining us very quickly. Jose, once again, a fantastic performance. Let's, well, maybe a sign of things to come in 2025. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
You're right, that was Jose Soriano and Carlos Martin in briefly talking to our race winner. Amir, we've got 2 other drivers waiting for an interview. Who should we go for next? And I'll let you interview them as well, because I'm nice.
No, you can do the interviews. I'm perfectly fine with it.
Okay, so I was only trying to be nice. Fine, if you're going to have it like that, then fine.
You're the lead commentator, come on.
I'm only joking. Let's drab in second place, Philip Pushka. Philip, can you hear us in the commentary box?
Yes.
Perfect stuff. Well, another P2 for you. A very strong performance as well. Just didn't quite have it for the race win today, but there was moments that you led. Pretty happy with that performance overall.
Yeah, overall you cannot be not happy with P2, but I think the car was very difficult to drive. Like, tend to understeer and then oversteer in the exit, so I think considering that, P2 is very good. I think like if I would have changed a little bit on the setup, the car balance would have been better, but I did like one race sim and then another half, so I thought I got it right. I think in the mid of the race I thought I didn't, because the car was behaving like, like the Ferrari 2014, like very bad for my driving style, but I think considering that as well, as I said, P2 is good, and the pace in general seems to be there, so could have been a strong season, I think, so let's keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, keeping going is the thing, and of course, you know, we know you're a very, very strong driver. We know what you can do. You know, you're a former Super League champion and all of that. You're certainly not slow, and this is a great way to start the season back here in Superlights. 2 second places out of 2 so far. Yeah, I mean, I think as it stands, you're 1 point behind Jose in the title race. I mean, again, it's still very early doors, but a great start for you. Of course, I'm sure we're going to continue to see great results over the season. Is that really your game plan from here? Just keep going, keep pushing, keep winning, potentially?
I mean, I think everyone wants to be winning, so that's no secret to it, but yeah, let's keep going. I think like if I can keep the momentum up, especially like the input I put in, like for the first time in 2 years I probably practiced like properly, so I think if I can keep up that motivation, input, and passion in the race, I think there should be no reason why I couldn't be in the top 5 on a consistent base. But I think let's see and wait and see. I think the car will have an influence as well, like on different tracks. Different cars will be stronger or weaker or better out of tires. So interesting season in front of us, I think, for everyone.
Should be very interesting indeed. Amir, any questions for Philip Pushka?
Done yourself another second place for incredible, showing you that your Albert Park performances wasn't any fluke. With the upgrades over coming in place though for you and your team, looking forward into Suzuka, you've done yourself very well for a podium streak amidst your great qualifying. Looking for the same thing, would you say, come Japan?
What's the question now? Like,
how would you feel within your performances that you've done, gotten yourself on a very good streak from back at Albert Park in Turkey? Do you think you'll be able to replicate that for the remaining, the next race over at Suzuka?
I think it's a case of not me getting slow potentially, but others getting quicker. I think there are a few drivers that have more potential that they haven't shown yet, or could have shown and were unlucky or did a mistake, or especially like, for example, Ruven. I think if he wouldn't have done the mistake today, it would have been a very close fight for the win, maybe potentially for him as well. So it's all about the pace, but also not doing any mistakes. I didn't do any in the first 2 races or qualifying sessions. That I'm pretty happy about that. So I think it's very satisfying, but not satisfying enough if you don't win. So let's keep pushing.
Well, fantastic stuff. Again, congratulations, Philip. 2 second places out of 2 so far. A strong start to the season. Long may it continue.
Yeah, thank you.
That was second place, Philip Pushka. One more driver to speak to, and that will be Ruven Machedi, who unfortunately just missed out on a podium. As we drag him into the commentary box, Ruven, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, well, you sound a little bit disappointed, and I can imagine so close to a podium there, just maybe got the strategy call a little bit wrong at the end, but you had great pace throughout the day. You know, surely there's some positives to have.
I mean, yeah, there are. I had race-winning pace without a spin, where I destroyed my tires and lost 7 to 8 seconds. Yeah, I definitely could have won that race. Yeah, it's hard. It's just gutting for me to not win, because I missed the first round and to have straight away a win, I would be instantly in the fight for the championship. But yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously it's frustrating, but don't worry, you are certainly not the only driver caught out today. Almost everybody had a little spin at some point. But yeah, no, I can imagine it's very, very frustrating. You certainly had good pace today, but still P4, a very, very strong position. When we head to Japan in 2 weeks' time, is the plan just to continue that pace, continue that consistency, and see if you can challenge for the win again?
I mean, of course, I think in Suzuka and Jeddah, I definitely want to win. That's the main goal there, and I think also with our upgrades for the car, it's very, very suited. So yeah, let's hope for the best.
Absolutely. Amir, any questions for Ruven Machete while he's here with us?
You can answer the final one. It's all right.
Amir, he's too tired. He's had too long of a day, too much racing action. He can't think of anything. Well, yeah, I mean, again, talk to us a little bit about the strategy decision there at the end to go on. Was that a case of necessity that you had to do it and you couldn't quite make the end on the softs, or was it, just the call that you felt was right?
Well, I wanted to have a chance at winning, so I undercutted them by far, but in the end, the pace advantage was too big. Also, with the sprint, as I said, the tires were really worn, and normally I could have extended distance by 4 or 5 laps, so I could have also won the soft in the end, but with the spin, I needed to change the strategy, and yeah, that was the only opportunity for me to get onto the podium, and yeah.
Fair enough. Well, maybe not the greatest day you've ever had, but still a very, very strong finish. And well, Ruven, we'll see you in 2 weeks' time, hopefully back to winning ways in Japan.
Yeah, thank you very much. Bye.
And that just about concludes our interviews and concludes. Been a crazy, crazy, crazy evening here in GPVWC Superlights once again. Man, oh man, Istanbul. Why do we not come here every year? Why has it been years since we last came here? It was just, I mean, I know it might have been a bit of a gimmicky chaos race, but goodness gracious me, it was exciting for us here in the commentary box, and we hope that you enjoyed too. Amir, any closing comments from you?
We talked about before back at Albert Park how everyone was really looking forward to the Turkish Grand Prix, a first Grand Prix that we've been here in 5 years, and my word did it deliver. It was absolutely incredible action. It's really set the season opener carried through from Melbourne. That momentum is now at an all-time high now, and as a result, our short trip over to Turkey concludes. We're going to be heading over to our short Asian leg because we're going to be going in the Japanese Grand Prix here for the Superlights in about 2 weeks' time. And I think we're still in Istanbul, aren't we, Ross?
What do you mean? I mean, we are still in Istanbul. Oh, I mean, like 2 days. Yes, of course. Sorry, your question just threw me off a little bit there. Yeah, of course. 2 days' time. It's the big boys. Superliga in town. Thursday evening, same time, same place here on the GPVWC live streaming channel. These got the big boys up in Super League. They'll be fighting their way around. They're going to have a tough time putting on as entertaining a race as that. But of course, we'll be back in 2 weeks' time here in Superlights. Again, as you said, Amir, a short little Asian leg. We're heading over first for the Japanese round at the Suzuka International Circuit, one of the greatest racetracks ever built, and one that is loved by fans and drivers alike. Boy, oh boy, is it going to be interesting. A big thank you to Fabian Jungbluth for doing a fantastic job on the cameras once again. Big thank you as well, of course, to Amir for being alongside me and bringing some entertainment, so I'm not just sat here shouting to myself all evening like the sad little man I am. Thank you very much, Amir. Been a pleasure.
Thank you. It's nice to see you return back to the commentary booth. I know how excited you must have been after a month and missed up to your Albert Park. It's really nice to hear your voice again. So thank you very much, Ross.
Oh, pleasure is all mine. It is great to be back. 2 days' time, the big boys of Super League make their way around Istanbul Park. From me and Amir, though, if you want to catch some more Super Lights action, should I say, 2 weeks' time, Suzuka. We'll see you then.
bye.